Previously on Coffeezilla.
This case isn't an ordinary one. For all the crypto you've been talking about lately, you've overlooked the biggest fraud of all.
What do you mean?
Have you ever heard of a coin called Tether? No, seriously, what do you know about Tether? That wasn't rhetorical.
Oh, sorry. I was trying to be cool.
Well, stop it. It's cringe.
Okay. Wait, what was the question again?
Never mind. I'll just tell you. Imagine for a second you had a money printer. A real one.
So, basically the government.
Correct. But imagine it's not controlled by a centralized government. Imagine it's owned offshore, unaudited, unaccountable.
That's impossible. No one would ever accept that currency.
Tether is that money printer. Only a few days ago, $1 billion worth of Tether was printed out of thin air. Before that, $1 billion more. It's in circulation today.
I think I need another drink. Sorry, explain this from the beginning. How does Tether work?
No problem, but you're gonna need a lot more than one drink.
Oh man. What happened last night? I need some coffee. Oh, no. Okay, come on, Steven. What time is it? Oh boy. All right, we gotta make this video already. Come on. Remember why you do this. Okay. Come on, we can do this. Hey guys, welcome to Come on, Steven. Got a video to make. Okay. Hey guys, welcome to a special episode inside of the $10 million studio. Today, we have a very special episode. If my head would stop pounding for a second. Sorry, you wouldn't believe the night I had even if I told you. But none of that matters, okay? Look, because I got to get this video out. After all, I always remind myself why I do this. For the fans. So, today we need to talk about Tether.
Tether is suspicious. Maybe it's not fully backed.
They're creating more out of thin air and then using that to buy and accumulate Bitcoin.
Because there is no transparency in Tether. That's the problem, is they were issuing Tether in whenever it was needed out of thin air. It was not backed by dollars.
There might be a fair amount of gambling mentality coming into that trust.
Tether is a cryptocurrency that, well, the best I can explain it is either deeply misunderstood or the biggest fraud in the world. In this video, I want to lay out evidence and let you decide for yourself. Is Tether a fraud? Legally, I can't say that it is, but if it is, and that is a big, juicy, legally compliant if, it's about to be bigger than Bernie Madoff. For context, Bernie Madoff's victims lost $64.8 billion. The current value of Tether is $62 billion. And at its current rate of growth, it climbs $1 billion every 4 days. By the time you're watching this, the value of Tether will be more than Madoff ever had in investor funds. Now, if it's not fraud, and that is possible, this video will be about bureaucratic incompetence and lies. Now, maybe this is the first time you're hearing of Tether or stablecoins, and you're thinking, I don't hold any Tether, so I don't have to worry about this video, right? I'll just hold Bitcoin. But here's the problem. Even if you're not invested in Tether, you are exposed to the fallout of a Tether crash, whether you realize it or not. See, Tether is the backbone of liquidity in the crypto market. It's one of the main ways people buy cryptocurrencies. And it's the largest crypto by trading volume, even bigger than Bitcoin. So if Tether disappears overnight, all that liquidity disappears and the price of crypto could come crashing down. All crypto, not just Tether. So that's my quick soft pitch for why Tether is important and why you should sit here and listen to what is probably going to be a very long video, which at times will feel like the accompanying audiobook to this image. All right, before we get started, I want to do some real quick housekeeping and address some criticisms right off the bat. This video will be labeled, unfortunately, as FUD by most of the crypto world. This is an acronym crypto fans use to dismiss criticism. It means fear, uncertainty, and doubt. But the way crypto influencers use it, you'd think it was more like an enchanting spell to keep the mean old bear market away. Here's how the average crypto YouTuber will respond when you show them this video.
But there's also more FUD. The latest FUD, I should say. I'm going to address the FUD. I think it's just FUD. And also why I think we should ignore it.
It's all FUD all the time. Bad FUD. I do not like that FUD. I do not agree with that FUD. I will ignore that FUD. Look, you don't have to agree with my opinions on Tether or conclude that it's a fraud in this video. As I said, I'm happy if you decide either way. All I ask is you keep an open mind and watch the whole video before deciding you were right all along. Number 2, this video is not attacking crypto as a whole. I'm still invested in multiple tokens and I plan to stay that way. This is because I'm invested in crypto for the long haul, and I think in the 5 to 10 year time horizon, this won't matter. If it does matter, well, we're all going down together, boys. I mean, that's all I can say. But that said, I do think it matters in the short term. I think Tether matters a whole lot. And the bigger Tether is allowed to grow unchecked, the greater risk they pose to the crypto ecosystem as a whole. All right, with those things out of the way, let me explain Tether as fast as I can. Okay, so first things first, what is Tether? First, we should distinguish that Tether Limited is the company that produces Tether coins. Tether coins, or simply tethers, are what is known as a stable coin in crypto. They call it a stable coin because that's exactly what it's supposed to be, stable. 1 USDT, for example, is always supposed to be worth exactly $1. Stable. Get it? Now, technically, stable coins can be pegged to anything. You can have a stable coin for a euro. You can have a stable coin for gold. You can have a stable coin for anything. And stablecoins are useful for a lot of reasons. They let you get around regulation easier, you can keep US cash on foreign crypto exchanges, and many other fancy things. But back when Tether was created in 2014, it was the first of its kind. Early on, this was Tether's #1 claim. Every Tether is always backed 1-to-1 by traditional currency held in our reserves. So 1 USDT is equivalent to 1 USD. And how it was supposed to work in theory was that you would give Tether $1 and they'd mint you 1 Tether. You could then go spend that Tether on crypto or whatever you wanted. And if you ever wanted to redeem that Tether, you could go back to Tether Limited, the company, give them your Tether, and they'd give back to you your $1. And then they'd burn that Tether token so it doesn't exist anymore, thus maintaining the exact balance of money in Tether's reserves to the number of Tethers that have been issued. In theory, that's how it's supposed to work. Here comes the first sign of trouble. See, people started to notice that actually, in Tether's terms of service, Tether doesn't actually have to redeem anything if they don't want to. It's literally in writing. Right here, Tether reserves the right to delay the redemption or withdrawal of Tether tokens. Then, again, if you didn't believe me, even more specifically, Tether reserves the right to redeem Tether tokens by in-kind redemptions of securities. In other words, if you decide you don't want these Tethers anymore and want them redeemed by Tether, as was always intended, they do not have to give you your money back. But look, I can hear you guys already. I'm sure you're saying, look, this is just FUD. Just FUD. Ignore it. Everything's fine as long as the money's there, right? Thank goodness Tether is a transparent company that publishes their reserves daily. Only wait a minute, this section has been changed. See, going to the Wayback Machine back in 2017, Tether promised that their reserve holdings are published daily and are subject to frequent professional audits. Whoops, it's actually been half a decade and there hasn't been a single audit. So I guess the boys decided it was better to scrub that from the website real quick and change it. But don't worry, guys. Some of the executives at Tether are willing to assure us that there's no cause for alarm. The money's there.
I agree that could be handled better, but all I can say is that money's there. I promise you that.
Money's there. We promise you that. I'm sure that's the thing crypto fans love to hear. You know, the same people who made their rallying cry, don't trust, verify. Yeah, I'm sure promises are basically the same thing, right? But don't blame Tether. It's not their fault. See, if you keep playing that call we were just listening to, you'll hear the real reason for the lack of an audit.
And, we're constantly looking for solutions to make that more transparent. It's not that easy. There's so much negativity surrounding it that nobody wants to touch it. Auditors don't want to work with us. Other people, it's just, I don't know quite what to say about it. I mean, it's like Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Everybody looking at it actually affects the system.
That's right. If you look too close at their funds, they might just vanish. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Maybe it's more like Madoff's uncertainty principle. But according to Tether, that really is the reason they haven't been audited in 6 years. It's that securing an audit from a top auditor is difficult. They simply can't find one. But that actually isn't true. The truth is, they actually had an auditor. Someone ready to do an audit, someone named Friedman LLP. But in 2018, Tether bailed in the middle of the audit, complaining that Friedman was being too, and I'm quoting here, excruciatingly detailed. Yes, you heard me right. The reason an offshore digital dollar printer can't get an audit is not because they couldn't find one. It's because the auditor that actually agreed to it was asking for too much information. Sorry guys, no audit today. Too busy changing the financial system. Look, audits are too time consuming, according to Tether. But don't worry. Even though Tether doesn't have to redeem your crypto bucks, and even though they've never been audited despite saying they would be, it's actually the least of your worries. See, you should get really concerned when another shady company enters the picture with ties to Tether. That company is Bitfinex. And I know what you're thinking. Another stupid name that's confusing. And I get it. Writing the script, it's kind of like trying to explain the plot of a Christopher Nolan movie, and not the good one. Just bear with me, okay? Bitfinex is a crypto exchange like Coinbase. And early on, it was the most popular crypto exchange where people could buy and sell cryptocurrencies. Pretty soon, people got pretty suspicious of the ties of Tether and Bitfinex. Bitfinex was the first and main exchange where Tethers were traded for a long time. So people began thinking, if, let's just say, somehow, the largest crypto exchange and largest stablecoin were somehow in bed together, that'd be kind of bad. Because after all, an exchange could collude with that stablecoin to get to a place where they're basically infinitely printing tethers, using those tethers to go buy Bitcoin on the exchange they own, and it'd always be worth $1 on that exchange, use them to back those tethers or convert it to USD, and then you just never redeem the tethers. Huge pile of cash from absolutely nowhere. Crypto certainly wouldn't be new to such a complicated scheme. Mt. Gox and Quadriga CX were both crypto exchanges that used their ownership to profit and ultimately rip off a lot of people. They both eventually went bust. So people were understandably concerned, and they asked directly, are Bitfinex and Tether owned by the same people? And of course, Bitfinex and Tether replied with the tried and true strategy of everyone who has nothing to hide. They lied. Here's Chief Strategy Officer Phil Potter denying this, saying that Tether and Bitfinex, just banked at the same bank.
So people that are confused right now, basically Tether is Phoenix, right?
No, it's not, but we bank with the same banks.
This has to be the worst excuse of all time. Oh, we bank at the same banks. No relation. We just see each other in line withdrawing huge sums of cash. No, we just say hi to each other across the little cubicles. It's ridiculous. Look, fast forward to 2017. Of course, the truth comes out after the Paradise Papers are released. You know, those like major leak of offshore shell company documents. It turns out one of the companies leaked in that was Tether. And it was revealed that, in fact, Bitfinex and Tether weren't just in bed together. They were owned by the same people. That's right. Phil Potter and Juan Carlo Devasini both had their names on Tether's incorporation. And here's Phil Potter later revising his lie.
We, Bitfinex, are majority owners of Tether. This is true. But Tether is a completely segregated entity. Dollars are all there.
Isn't it so funny that he always has to reassure people, hey, dollars are there? Now, at this point, I think it's becoming obvious that the owners of Bitfinex and Tether aren't exactly your typical executives. So I'd like to introduce you guys to exactly who's behind these two companies, which are basically the same company. They're owned by the same people. Because at its heart, this is really a story about trust. Can Tether or Bitfinex be trusted? We've already established multiple lies, but now let's look at the background of these individuals. I contacted a man named Bennett Tomlin for this. He investigates fraud full-time and is currently writing an entire book about Tether. I asked him to break down the background of these individuals, and here's what he told me.
Bitfinex was founded in 2013 by Raphael Nicolay. By day was a help desk technician, and by night spent his time looking on Bitcoin Talk for Ponzi schemes he could participate in. Famously, he lost a bunch of his Bitcoin in the Trendon Shavers Ponzi scheme, which was later brought down by the Department of Justice. And then he tried to start his own high-yield lending program, where people could lend him their Bitcoins, and he would use what he called arbitrage to earn them a guaranteed 2% per week on their Bitcoins. After people were not interested in giving their money to a Ponzi schemer, he decided to start Bitfinex. He was later joined at Bitfinex by Juan Carlo Devasini, currently the chief financial officer for both Bitfinex and Tether, who previously was a software pirate. He got in trouble for selling pirated Microsoft software.
And that was a lot of money, wasn't it? Like that he got in trouble for.
No, it was a relatively small amount. It's a currency conversion factor, makes it seem bigger than it was. It was like, I want to say it was like 18 million lira, which at the time converted to, I want to say like 100,000 USD. So it was a relatively small fine for that. Yeah, and so then they were later joined by Phil Potter, who for a long time was the chief strategy officer of Bitfinex. He came from the New York financial scene. He was once profiled in a New York Times piece where he bragged about his wealth and how much money he was making. And very shortly after that, he lost his position at Morgan Stanley. And then Tether was started by initially a different cast of characters, led by Brock Pierce. Brock Pierce was a famous child actor who starred in films like The Mighty Ducks. He's more known for fleeing to Spain with indicted child sexual predator Mark Collins Rector, where both of them ended up getting arrested in a house full of child pornography. He started initially Realcoin, which became Tether, along with a couple of other people who he had previously worked with, including Jonathan Yantis, who helped him at IGE, which was a company that started surrounding farming MMO items. So they would hire out people in various countries to earn these items and then would sell them. Secondary market. Yeah. And then Realcoin was bought out by Bitfinex and became Tether. And when it was incorporated, had basically the same executive team as Bitfinex.
What can you tell us about Paulo, who later joined the team?
Paulo is a little bit interesting because he doesn't have the same kind of past that some of these other characters do. Him and his wife, Claudia, who is the chief operating officer for Bitfinex, both joined in, I want to say 2015. They both had a previous history as fintech developers, and as far as I can tell, they seem to be competent fintech developers. The most interesting thing to me about Paulo is one, that it's him and his wife working together for Bitfinex and Tether, and two, that so there was a document leaked that at one point Bitfinex leaked that showed that Paulo was one of the directors for Delchain, which is it's a cryptocurrency focused offshoot of Deltec Bank, which is where Tether now banks. And so it seems that Paulo might be connected pretty deeply to Tether's bank.
Tell me about Stu Hogner, their general counsel.
So yeah, Stuart Hogner is the general counsel for Bitfinex and Tether. He has a history in cryptocurrency and also in online gambling. He was the director of compliance at Excapa, which was a online poker company most known for being the parent company for Ultimate Bet. Ultimate Bet got in trouble because they were giving some of their players a god mode that allowed them to see the other players' cards, which would obviously be an advantage if you're trying to play poker. So that happened while Stu was the director of compliance for Excapa, and then shortly thereafter he left.
This is all shocking because these are the people sort of facilitating the currency that is the backbone of crypto. It's like the leading liquidity provider. And what you're telling me is these are not savory individuals for the most part.
That's exactly what I'm telling you.
This is starting to look bad, huh? But don't worry, it gets way worse. Around 2017, okay, people began criticizing Tether sort of seriously for the first time. And it started with someone named Bitfinex on Twitter. Bitfinex has been by far the most vocal critic of Tether. And I interviewed him to ask him what made him first suspect something was wrong.
Starting in late March 2017, I noticed unusual trading on Bitfinex that seemed to match the trading that I saw on Mt. Gox when Mt. Gox lost banking. I was alert but had nothing concrete about their banking situation until April the 5th, 2017, when Bitfinex attempted to sue Wells Fargo. Their lawsuit indicated that they, Bitfinex and Tether, had no banking at all, and despite this, Tether continued to issue tens of millions of dollars of Tether despite Bitfinex and Tether being unable to receive transfers. I suspected fraud and started my Twitter account.
Now, in response to this criticism, Tether panicked. And even though they would never end up getting an audit, they decided to release a third-party attestation to show that they really had funds in reserve to back up their tethers. 400 million tethers, in fact. But But real quick note, an attestation is not an audit. An audit is a detailed forensic look at your accounts. An attestation can be as simple as a peek into your bank account to see that the money's there for a very short amount of time. This is what that attestation looked like. Now, at the time, many saw this as proof that Tether was in fact backed. It sure looked like they had $400 million in the bank, and everyone in crypto also had good reason to want to believe this as well. Everybody was making money, to put it frankly. After all, the more money Tether printed, the higher Bitcoin's price would rise. So it was in everyone's interest who held Bitcoin, or crypto for that matter, to keep the gravy train going. The only problem was, with this attestation, it turns out that some funny business was going on. See, it was found out later in a New York Attorney General investigation that something very shady had happened. Tether had convinced their third party to conduct his attestation or snapshot on a very specific day, September 15th, 2017, with Noble Bank. On September 14th, the day before that happened, Tether didn't have an account with Noble Bank. On the day of the snapshot or attestation, Tether opened a bank account where they supposedly had reserves all along, and Bitfinex, the other company, which they have nothing to do with, transferred $382 million into that account. That night, the attestation was done, and everything appeared in order. But no one knew that the funds supposedly backing Tether arrived there that day.
Suspiciously, the price of Bitcoin also suddenly fell by around 40 to 50% in the 2 weeks prior, leading some to believe that someone was selling bucket loads of Bitcoin. The price recovered immediately after the attestation and was the largest 4 hours of buying in Bitcoin's history on the same day.
Don't forget that only minutes ago, Phil Potter claimed that Tether and Bitfinex were completely separate entities.
But Tether is a completely segregated entity. Dollars are all there.
But now we find that they're actually commingling funds. But even this ruse didn't save Bitfinex and Tether completely. They may have warded off public opinion for a little while, but their critics were growing louder than ever.
The Friedman attestation was worthless, and I called it as such at the time.
But a big shadow loomed over the project that not even their critics could have seen coming. You see, around this time, Bitfinex and Tether were having banking issues. It wasn't uncommon for crypto companies to have trouble finding banks to work with. After all, some of the users of cryptocurrencies, especially early on, were quite sketchy, so banks didn't want to get involved. Nonetheless, if you're a crypto company, you need a bank to receive wire deposits. So Bitfinex decides to start relying on something called Crypto Capital. Now, this company probably deserves its own video, Crypto Capital, but suffice to say, they worked with a lot of, let's call it, needy clients. You know, people who couldn't go anywhere else besides a sketchy non-bank to bank with. People who needed their money moved without anyone knowing where it was from. I mean, I'll just say it, like money laundering, basically. To put it into perspective for the types of people Crypto Capital were working with, the Colombian drug cartel were later implicated with Crypto Capital. So we're talking some seriously sketchy business partners here. But look, Bitfinex is desperate. They need banking. So they start working with them, depositing hundreds of millions of their clients' funds with them. And for a while, things were going great and smoothly. But this time, it would prove that Bitfinex and Tether were the ones who would be duped because they trusted somebody. See, the feds were onto Crypto Capital. After an illegal escort website called Backpage was busted, guess who was implicated? Well, you guessed it, Crypto Capital. And when the feds came knocking, everyone's funds got seized. I mean, we're talking the shell account funds, the ones holding Bitfinex's clients' money. Reports say that at this point, Bitfinex had $850 million frozen in this giant international money laundering case. And I mean, this is huge. According to internal documents, in June 2018, Bitfinex told their point of contact at Crypto Capital that over 80% of client funds were controlled by Crypto Capital. Translation? That's it. We're insolvent. If we can't get access to those funds that we deposited with Crypto Capital, we don't have the money. So Bitfinex is even more desperate than ever. They can't find a solution. They're about to blow up, just like so many crypto exchanges have done in the past. I mean, after all, there's no way to magically patch an $850 million hole in your balance sheet. Right? Absolutely wrong. Suddenly, Bitfinex realizes they have something no one else has ever had in their possession. A flying Lamborghini. No, I'm just kidding. They have a money printer. And this money printer also has massive private reserves. So rather than go bankrupt, Bitfinex instead takes $400 million from Tether's reserves, and suddenly they can meet withdrawals and not go out of business. They basically bailed themselves out, is what I'm trying to tell you right now. And meanwhile, even though they're still short tons of cash, they proceed to lie to the public and issue a statement saying Bitfinex is not solvent, and a constant stream of Medium articles claiming otherwise is not going to change this. Now again, they are insolvent. They don't have the money, but are we really surprised that they're lying yet again? Meanwhile, they're still trying to fight the bad press of all of this, and so they decide they need another attestation to show that their reserves are solid. To do this, they get another bank. Sorry, I know it's like a rotating cast of banks. Just go with me. This one's called Deltek, okay? Funny enough, one of the executives is actually the creator of Inspector Gadget, which is totally random and weird. But at this point, I could probably tell you anything and you'd believe me in this story because it's so insane. But anyways, they get this attestation from Deltek, and once again, they get back up to their old trick. See, on November 1st, 2018, Tether had Deltek give a public announcement that affirmed that Tether now had a balance of $1.8 billion in reserve. They had grown a lot by then, still making them backed 1-to-1. However, after Deltek firms this, November 2nd, Tether pays Bitfinex $475 million, to help plug the hole that's still in Bitfinex's balance sheet and kind of make them whole again. Of course, it naturally follows if you just took $500 million from one company and handed it over to this one. Tether's not backed the next day after they claimed that they were backed. Of course, they lied because it's these guys, right? So shady. But of course, nobody could have possibly known that at the time. And we actually didn't find this out until the New York Attorney General's office released their investigation. This means that what Bitfinex and Tether set out to do succeeded, which is deceiving their customers to buy more time. This means unequivocally, at least on November 2nd, and who knows for how much longer, Tether was unbacked by US dollars. And around this time, interestingly, Tether decided that maybe it was time to move the goalposts again. So what did they do? Well, around 2019, yet again, Tether's website suddenly changed without warning. After spending 5 years claiming to be 100% backed by USD, they changed it to this. Every Tether token is 100% backed by our reserves, not by US dollars, which include traditional currency and cash equivalents, and from time to time, may include other assets and receivables from loans made by Tether to third parties, which may include affiliated entities, collectively reserves. Every Tether token is also 1-to-1 pegged to the dollar. So they're saying it's still pegged to the dollar. Now we don't really know why though, because they can basically loan an insolvent parent company or co-company money as much as they want to bail them out. So what exactly is receivable? If that company goes under, it's a disaster. But look, I don't want to bog you down in explaining to you how completely insane that is. It's pretty obvious. The much more obvious question I think we can all ask ourselves now is, who in their right mind would trust this company at this point? Tether and Bitfinex, owned by the same company, have repeatedly lied, omitted, and misled people. And we've only done a basic history of what's happened so far. 2021 hasn't been much better for them either. The New York Attorney General's office investigated Tether for 2 years. And as a part of a settlement, they were fined millions of dollars, banned from New York, and the Attorney General couldn't be more clear. They say Bitfinex recklessly and unlawfully covered up massive financial losses to keep their scheme going and protect their bottom lines. Tether's claims that its virtual currency was fully backed by US dollars at all times was a lie. Which, wow, that's quite the statement. So, I bet you're asking yourself, Tether finally fessed up, right? Like that must be it. That must be where this story ends. Like you'd be right in a normal world, but this is crazy land, right? Instead, Tether decides that to pretend basically this was all good news. And in yet another lie, but this time from their general counsel, Stu Hoegner, they said that the AG's office made no negative findings whatsoever that Tethers were not fully backed. That is completely wrong. Literally, the New York Attorney General said Tether's claims that it was fully backed was a lie. Stu Hoegner, the general counsel, says, oh, they never found anything, made no negative findings that Tethers were not fully backed. So, look, Tether and Bitfinex, even when caught lying by the New York Attorney General, still lie about what even that says. Now, of course, many might declare any kind of settlement for Tether at all a win. I mean, at least they weren't shut down and everything fell apart, right? So that might be true to some extent. But don't forget, if this is a complicated fraud scheme, it wouldn't be unprecedented for regulators to fail to shut it down for a long time. Remember this guy? Bernie Madoff himself was discovered early on by independent researchers, but the SEC investigated and cleared him multiple times before the fraud unraveled. But regardless of what you think about whether Tether is guilty or innocent here, one thing is clear. Tether's money printer is running at an all-time high. At the beginning of this year, there were 20 billion Tether in circulation. Right now, there's 62 billion. They've printed 42 billion Tether in like 6 months. And are all those Tethers backed? Is Tether unbacked? Well, I don't want to say too much, right? I'll let you decide. I have my opinions on it. But either way, this story clearly isn't finished. Now, the last revelation we need to talk about in this whole debacle has to be the infamous pie chart Tether released, revealing their reserves breakdown for the first time. Previously, they had hidden what their Tethers were backed by after they left the dollar standard. But because of the New York Attorney General's settlement agreement, they had to publish this. They were forced to. Other people have done full breakdowns of what all this means, but the big headline here is that Tether has, according to them, huge amounts of what they call commercial paper. 49% of their total reserves, to be precise. Real quick, by the way, I know the number you're seeing says 65% for commercial paper, but that's a breakdown of the cash or cash equivalents, which only makes up 75% of Tether's reserves. So in Tether's total reserves, commercial paper makes up a total of 49%, which is 75% of 65%. I know the way they presented it is confusing, so I just wanted to clarify. What is commercial paper, says everyone in the room? Well, it's unsecured debt. It's debt that if they default on it, you don't have collateral. So in theory, I believe commercial paper is supposed to be only lent to like A-rated institutions. Like you're going to give it to like Apple or Microsoft or, someone you can trust to not fail because your debt is unbacked. But who is Tether giving that money to? We simply have no idea. 49% of $60 billion, which is roughly way more than any human can ever spend. Theoretically, Tether could almost lend anyone unsecured debt, get an IOU, and according to them, that Tether would be backed. Meanwhile, how much actual cash on hand does Tether have? Just about 3%. Pretty incredible for a company that claimed only a short while ago that it was always 1-to-1 backed by traditional currency held in our reserves. Now every Tether is backed 1 to 0.03 by traditional currency held in its reserves. But now that you're up to speed on Tether and their history, maybe it's time to stop talking about the past and instead talk about the future and its implications. And this comes to the opinion part. These are my thoughts, okay? So this is not fact here. Two things seem true to me. Tether leadership often lie and have a long history of being shady. The second thing is that Tether's absolutely massive. It has passed PayPal in how much money they're actually holding. Not only that, according to the Financial Times, Tether's commercial paper holdings immediately place it as, quote, one of the world's largest investors in the U.S. commercial paper market, rubbing shoulders with the likes of fund managers Vanguard and BlackRock, and dwarfing the investments of tech giants like Google and Apple. Another quote further down the article is even more alarming. Quote, until last week, we really hadn't heard of them, said a trader at a large bank. It was news to us. To put Tether's absurd size in another way that illustrates how weird this is, they are currently the biggest company in the world in terms of assets per employee in the world by far. According to LinkedIn, Tether has 13 employees, but 62 billion under management. That's almost $5 billion per employee. Literally, it is the biggest fintech company in existence right now. Tether is huge, which leads to an kind of obvious conclusion. If it's fraud, big if, it's going to be really, 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 really bad. How bad? I mean, it's hard to know. Crypto influencers, mostly, the FUD ones, try very hard to paint a rosy picture, pointing out that even if Tether's 100% unbacked, Tether is only worth 60 billion compared to the entire crypto market, which is like 2 trillion. And they would say, you just kind of take 60 billion out of 2 trillion, it's not that much. However, due to Tether's special role in the market, I'm not sure I agree. Tether's collapse isn't just about 60 billion winking out of existence, because Tether is the number one medium of exchange for people to get in and out of crypto, which means when that liquidity suddenly disappears, it's going to be a lot worse than people think. Will Bitcoin and crypto survive? Yeah, probably. Will it be pretty? Will it be just $60 billion? Probably not. Now, of course, there are alternate timelines to consider as well. Maybe Tether never collapses. Maybe after years of incompetence, lies, and deceit, they righted the ship. They're changed people. Only time will tell. But just don't say I didn't warn you.
Well, did you tell them?
I tried to. What now?
Now, we wait.
I know what you mean. This ain't what it seemed. Nothing but a trick, trying to sell me on a dream, but that was where you lost me. Wake up and smell the coffee.
When Brian Rose first ran for mayor, I thought it was a joke. Now I think it's a story of self-delusion, a beautiful story of grifting your followers, of lying, of not doing what you stood up for. And it's a beautiful story of what happens when you do all of those things. Do you win or do you fall flat on your face? Well, today we're going to learn lessons from Brian for mayor, the campaign. Guys, if you don't remember, when Brian announced his campaign, he said it was all about free speech. He has been vilified, marginalized, and silenced, all for exercising his fundamental human rights of free speech and freedom of the press. He raised $1 million for freedom of speech, apparently spent close to $1 million on his campaign. Now, I'm not going to put two and two together there. I'll leave that for you. But he allegedly said, I don't do anything by half measures. He said he was going to do things different, bring a fresh perspective, a new set of ideas. So what does he have to show for it? After all this spending, millions of dollars on these elaborate billboards across London, on this elaborate bus, after crying censorship about getting charged by the police, allegedly, after faking a criminal charge, what does he have to show for it? Well, before the election, we didn't know. Many, including Brian himself, were pretty optimistic about it. Now, to show this, I'd love to play you a video from Brian's campaign. Unfortunately, the Mr. Free Speech, the guy who I'll defend to the death, you're right to say it even if I don't agree with you. Yeah, that guy has been copyright striking and blocking all videos relating to him. In fact, he recently copyright striked The Drip, my podcast channel, meaning that I only have 2 strikes left before that channel gets deleted. So, ironically, I can't show you his campaign. Otherwise, he'd censor me. So I decided to do the next best thing. I hired a person on Fiverr to read out Brian's transcript word for word so you could understand what he actually said performatively, because it's not the same if I read it to you. You have to understand the cadence of this man, the surety he had. Now don't ask why he's in a doctor's outfit, okay? We're rolling on the cheap here at Coffeezilla. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. What do you think, I'm rich? But this is what Brian said. He traveled to one of the offices, I guess, for mayor and said he was just visiting his new office. That's how sure he was that he was going to win. That's how deluded this man was. He said, I'm about to kick Sadiq Khan out of his office. Let's hear this clip.
All right, it's Brian Rose, your next mayor of London.
Okay, already this was a really good choice.
Today is the day to vote. I'm checking out my new offices here at City Hall. What an amazing view tower. Breed, you got the Tower of London. You got the City of London. And I'm here to tell the current mayor of London, it's time to clean out your office because I'm moving in on Saturday.
Imagine the arrogance that you have to literally say, nothing's been counted yet? I'll move it in. I'm going to trump that guy. I'm going to trump Sadiq Khan. You're fired. That's what he thought he was going to be doing. He thought he'd be marching in there going, hey, Sadiq Khan, you're trumped. I mean, you're fired. You're fired. You're out of here. The people of London have chosen me. This is how sure this guy was.
We are going to take London in a new direction. We are going to rebuild the economy, make our streets safe, finally run transport at a profit, and build those affordable homes.
Wow. So big promises. And even up to the election, that was the day of the election, the votes get cast, but apparently they don't get counted right away, right? So there's a few days to go. Well, in between when everyone's voted and when actually the winner's been decided, Brian releases another video called We Won, We Won.
We won the brain from mayor campaign.
Dude, I can't. When this guy says brain, brain for mayor.
As one, and I don't have to wait for them to count up the votes. I don't have to wait for the tallies to come in.
This is crazy. Of course you have to wait for the tallies. What is he talking about? We won.
Because I've been out on the streets of London speaking to real Londoners on the streets, and I know we've won.
This is more credible coming from a fake doctor than it ever was coming from Brian Rose. You really have to see this clip to believe it. This is the kind of delusion. And eventually he said, we won because we just changed politics. We changed it. This is right out of the fake it till you make it catalog. But there's only so long that you can put off the inevitable. Eventually, the results were in. What did they say?
I therefore declare Sadiq Aman Khan elected as the Mayor of London.
Yikes, we all kind of knew this was coming. But those aren't the results you're looking for or I was looking for. I wanted to know, how did Brian do? Brian Rose for the London Real Party got 31,000 votes, 1.2% of the entire vote. Oh my gosh, that's so bad. He spent millions of dollars to get 1% of the vote by tacking his name up on a billboard everywhere across London. Just to put that in context, right? Nico Alamani, another YouTuber who ran for, quote, vibes. He ran because of vibes, guys. He got 2% of the vote. Okay. So don't think that that's good, okay? It's not good. Now, obviously, we have only one real politician we care about. I don't care about Sadiq Khan. I don't really even care about Brian for mayor. You guys know the true London candidate that I was really pulling for. My personal endorsement, Count Binface. How did he do? Unfortunately, he only pulled in 1%, slightly behind Brian Rose. Now, initially, I was disappointed. That was until I realized how stupid the London election results are and how confusing they are, because that's not actually the real result. There's something called second preference votes, which are like the UK's, it's confusing. The point is, all you need to know is the total. The combined votes is how many votes you actually got, right? Because if Brian Rose and Count Binface were up head to head, you'd count their second preference votes. So what did they actually both get? Well, when you look at Brian Rose, he got a total of something like 70,000 votes. He got 40,000 second preference, 30,000 first preference. Okay, not bad. When you look at our boy Binface, though, he's a sleeper candidate with 70,000 votes just in second preference. And if you add that to his first tally, he has something like 90,000 votes for him, putting him ahead of Brian Rose. So a literal trash can beat Brian for mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the kind of campaign that Brian put on. He was beaten by a literal trash can from space. And that's not to disparage Binface. Everyone knows how much I love Binface. He was my personal favorite to win. But you really just have to look at a single photo to know the difference. Look, intergalactic deep thinker meets own urine drinker. And then we have a photo here of these two. I mean, guys, one of these clearly has spent millions of dollars for a candidacy. The other has a trash can on his head. And I know who I'd vote for. And London feels the same. So in light of all of this, you would think that Brian would finally accept reality. I thought I was going to come to you guys and tell you that Brian has accepted the L gracefully and moved on. Unfortunately, he has recently released a video right after losing where he says this.
All right, I've just finished at City Hall over here with the other 19 candidates to be the next mayor of London. They gave us the final result, and I am not the mayor of London yet.
What? What do you mean yet? Can't you just say you lost? What do you mean yet? Don't say yet. You lost. That's it. You got 1% of the vote. You got blown out.
Just getting warmed up.
No, you're not. Reality has no touch on this man. Reality means nothing. To Brian, he says, look, I may not have won, but I have won in spirit. I will win eventually. Look, you know you guys can say that about anything. You can literally say that about me. I could make a video that's titled, I am not mayor of London yet. I'm going to start telling my parents that. They always wanted me probably to be a doctor, you know, right here. I'm not a doctor, Mom, yet. Hello, delusion. My name is Brian.
And that's the message I want to get out to all of our supporters, to all the people that voted for the London Real Party, for Brain, Rose.
Every time he does that, he cracks me up. Everyone who voted for Braid, good job.
All the people around the world that supported us, we are just getting warmed up.
Wow. These are levels of self-delusion that I did not know were possible, and yet we are seeing them right away. Before you get in, before anyone's voted, you say you're going to kick them out of City Hall. Then you go, oh, I've won before the votes are counted. Then you lose, and instead of saying you just lost, you go, I'm not mayor of London yet. Soon, guys. Unfortunately, and I hate to burst people's bubbles here, Brian for mayor is not happening. Brian will never be mayor of London. Or to put it another way, Count Binface has better odds of being the future mayor of London than Brian Rose does. Millions of dollars were spent on a campaign that only got 1% of the vote. What does that say about the resonance of the message? Maybe it's because you're censoring people from talking about you while running on a platform of free speech. Maybe that's why people didn't want to vote for you. Maybe it's because when people want to discuss your candidacy, they have to use literal Fiverr actors to reenact it. Maybe that's why it didn't go off so well. But I don't think Brian's going to reflect on that. Instead, I think he's just going to go, nah, it's just the elites. It's just the two-party system that got me. I really thought before this election that everyone had to come up and face reality eventually, but I think that's not true anymore. After this election, I think we may see another Brian for mayor run in 2024 and maybe in 2028 and then every episode from then on. And let me be honest, if that is the case, I will cover it. But to recap, I think we can take something positive away from this. I think we can take away a good lesson. If you have a good message and millions of dollars to spend, you too may be able to get 1% of the vote and get beaten by a trash can. Thanks for watching. That's the lesson. I'll see you guys next time.
I know what you mean. This ain't what it seemed. Nothing but a trick, trying to sell me on a dream, but that was where you lost me. Wake up and smell the coffee.
I know I haven't posted in a while, but because of legal reasons, all I'm allowed to say right now is this. My name's Fraser.
My name's Jarvis. I'm
Rice Gun. I'm Nikon. And I support Save the Kids token.
Yeah, it's rewind time.
Shitcoins are on the come up, no? Or are they not? There's one on the come up.
Let me go ahead and buy a MILF real quick.
Bitcoin, take us to the moon!
Your moon portal is out right now, guys.
It's called Save the Kids.
So the market cap is $2.168 trillion. And now the market, it went to zero.
Bitcoin is so much more than a meme coin. It's a multimedia coin. Cartoon meets crypto.
Like when you get like $1 million like that, like easy, nothing, and you have to think about it, it's like, it's tempting, right? Because I want to buy myself a Rolls Royce, a Lamborghini, a bunch of Richard Milles, because I'm a stupid fuck. I want to buy myself a house.
We bought this penthouse.
For the last 6 months, I've been working on my own NFT project, CryptoZoo.co. We handmade art for the past 6 months, bro. Approval, very specific notes, 10 different artists making art.
Guys, all my money is not from selling merch. I've fucking figured out other ways to make money.
It's all good. Elon Gate made me rich. Elon Gate, baby. Let's go. Elon Gate token.
By the way, that MILF token shit I did a while back, I already told you guys, don't buy that shit. I got paid a bag to do that shit. Like, I don't give a fuck. I hope none of you guys actually bought it.
You can sell one of your kidneys and buy some million token with that, right? You've got 2 kidneys, you don't need both of them. Might as well monetize one of them.
So I'm buying Bitcoin at $38,000 a coin. Oh, scam and how? Scam and how?
Owie! Alright, we need a 15K filler!
So, like, I might play you sometimes, so I'll lead you down a path. Take your money, you motherfuckers!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the studio. This is actually my second time filming this. I am your host, your internet detective, but I'm sad to say, I just found out that 3 of my video files that were planned were corrupted. because I muted my mic somehow. So get some coffee, guys, because I gotta pull a late night here, try to get some more content out for you guys, because there's no way in hell I'm going bald this month. Let me tell you right now. Guys, today I want to talk to you. This is Throwback Thursday. If you don't know what day it is, just so you know, that's why we do this. Throwback Thursday. Hello, you're almost at the end of your week. Hang in there. On Thursdays, as you guys know, we go back in time to learn the lessons of scammers so we can learn not only about them, but also ourselves, a little bit of psychology of who we are. And together, we can be a more educated population, fall for scammers less, and in general, learn to empathize with each other more. I don't know if this show actually does any of that, but it's aspirational, guys. Today, we're talking about the dark truth about con men. Something that I've kind of had to come to grips with, because, you know, on the show, we kind of make fun of these people. We paint them in the worst possible light. But there's a truth that I've been avoiding about the true con men. Listen, there are kind of your bottom-feeding con men, but then there's the top tier. And at the highest tier, what I haven't been addressing, and what is so uncomfortable to admit, is how likable con men are. And I know you're saying, Steven, no, these guys they're scammers. No. It's okay to admit the truth, which is that if you watch, look, I was watching the Napoleon Hill interview, right? Because I did that last Throwback Thursday. And one thing I came away with is, look, if you can just strip away the lying, the fake success, the fact that he was totally phony with it all, this man is actually extraordinarily likable. I hate to say it.
And remember before you begin writing that your only limitations are those which you set up in your own mind or permit others to set up for you.
I mean, he's just kind of this humble-looking guy. I'm not saying he's some kind of saint or anything like that, but I'm saying if you listen to him without knowing all the backstory about him, you'd find him to be likable. You'd find him to be, oh, this is a guy I'd like to be friends with. That is what is so difficult to deal with con men, is that the reason people get involved with a lot of these scams and the reason they keep going back to them is because of the charisma and the cult of personality a lot of these characters. So we're going to be going through some history with a lot of different characters like this so I can make this point to you of really how dangerous this kind of thing is. And with that, I'd like to turn to perhaps the most troubling modern version of this that I've seen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joseph James, a trading instructor on YouTube. Now, before I tell you what he did, let's just watch one of his videos and just pay attention to how this guy acts.
All right, guys, back to work tonight, Tuesday evening. It's January the 12th, 2020. My name is Joseph, and as always, welcome back to your nightly newsletter.
First impressions, great. If you guys met this guy in the street, you didn't have any context, he wasn't featured in a Coffeezilla video, you'd probably find this guy likable, maybe a little chatty. A lot of these guys are a little bit chatty, but, you know, they're high energy, smiling. You can't probably see it with the black and white, but he's got these blue eyes just hypnotizing me, bringing me in, telling me this is a guy I can trust. That's actually how you con people, actually, is by being and appearing trustworthy. This is something hard for people to accept. And the reason I finally wanted to address it is because I keep getting the same email basically saying, hey, what do you think of this guy? I think he might be a scam, but he's so likable. As if con men are supposed to come out and tell you that they're con men. As if they're supposed to wear like a dark robe and like, you know, a wizard hat and announce themselves. No, that's kind of the point. They're likable. But of course, you go through his thing and what actually does he do? Behind all this affability, what's actually the end result? Well, oh, look at this. He pitches you a course.
Every day at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. I'll put the link you need in the description of this YouTube video. I'll also put a big button for you to click on the trading blog. So getting registered for tomorrow morning's trade room is pretty darn easy. Easy as falling off a Shetland pony, as they say.
Just easy as falling off a Shetland pony. Now, guys, who is this man? Probably a lot of you guys haven't heard of him. Well, he runs a channel called School of Trade. Now I think it's been shifted to Joseph James or something like that, but it used to be School of Trade, and as you can see, the site is still branded that way. Why do I bring this guy up, and why is he in Throwback Thursday? Well, it's because of what happened to him in 2017. See, this video is from yesterday. Like, he's still selling this course right now. But you know what happened in 2017? This man paid $4.9 million in trading system fraud. And as you can see, the thing that says fraud on it literally has not changed. See, the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission charged this guy with paying restitution to defrauded investors totaling $4 million and a $1 million penalty for doing what he did. Now, I won't read all of this to you, but basically, this guy was not really making the money he said he was making with his course, and so they fined him. Now, obviously, has the course changed a lot? I mean, we can just kind of go off of this. What do you think? If this is what the course looked like before, and the course he's selling now, today, right now, after paying $4 million back to investors and $1 million to the government, it still looks like this. What's the point? Guys, these people don't stop. Even when they're caught, they don't stop. And let's look at this comment section. I've been watching you since May 2020 when I started trading, so a new trader here. You think he has any idea of what happened with the CFTC? Joseph James is your mentor trader. Priceless. Dreams come true 2021. Good stuff, JJ. Hey, thanks for the video. This is a guy who was convicted by the CFTC and forced to pay a penalty for what he was selling, and he's still selling it, and people are still buying it, which goes to the irrationality of people who are both scamming and also something we don't talk about is being scammed. There's an allure to the person scamming. We can't ignore that. Guys, we can't just pretend these people are clowns, which a lot of them are. But at the highest level, the best scammers, they have a real like magnetism to them. And this isn't about, your small time gurus. This is about people like this. This is Kevin Trudeau, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who that is, that's because he's been in jail for contempt of court, among other things. He had a lot of run-ins with the government for selling his shady products. He was also always telling you, you're going to have the mega mind memory. You're going to have, he sold that course. He sold like weight loss cures. He sold like money making cures. Basically, he's always selling something else. And every time it didn't live up to the hype. So Kevin Trudeau eventually was silenced. He ignored the court. He got arrested, right? So classic scammer. But this man, even now, after being in jail for years, still has people die hard supporting this man. To the point where there's an entire group of people that are trying to free Kevin Trudeau early, and they send him money to his mailing address at prison, and they send him letters. Like, he's got a whole fan club that have followed him even into jail. They're basically worse than BTS fanboys and fangirls, okay? These people love this guy, despite the fact that his products did not work. Now, of course, a few people are going to say, well, I tried his weight loss thing. I injected myself with HGH or whatever it was, and I lost 10 pounds. This guy was a known con man, but yet he had a magnetism to him. It's easy to dismiss these guys as, kooky, whatever, scammers. They are, but there's something kind of there as well that's very interesting to think about, because if you're going to protect yourself and others, you can't think these people are going to show up telling you they're going to scam you or going, oh, haha, I'm going to get you. If you guys met this guy on the street, you'd probably like him. That's the thing.
Many of you may know that years and years ago, back actually 1989, I did a program called Mega Memory. It became one of the most popular self-improvement series of all time. When I did that program, Mega Memory, one of the things I did was I made a big decision to expose both corporate and government corruption. And particularly at that time, I was exposing how the Department of Education was trying to force the drug Ritalin on...
Oh, yeah. So that's actually like how... Okay, this is great. So this is what a lot of people do, is they tie themselves to causes while scamming you, right? So while getting these fees, while riding around in yachts and boats and luxury cars, this guy's basically saying, hey, I was trying to help the common man. I'm trying to expose everybody, exposing big pharma, exposing all this stuff. So they play on your biases. So this is pretty long, but basically he says, I'm this big victim who's been cheated. And even when you go to a lot of the videos where he's being exposed, they have a bunch of downvotes on him because all Kevin Trudeau's fans don't want to believe it. Here's one of the videos. Controversial TV pitchman, Kevin Trudeau jailed. It's got like 25% downvotes, and then the top comments are basically like free Kevin Trudeau things. It's so sad that the government will frame someone as a scammer and use major media to convince the public. It's like, dude, the guy is a scammer. This is in a video, by the way, which exposes Kevin for running yet another scam of this like membership club or whatever, which then he says, oh, I don't have any control over.
Are you using gin as a personal piggy bank to live a really lavish lifestyle and avoid paying this judgment?
Well, I think that's a legitimate question, but even if I was, what's the point? I'm screwed. I can't own anything for the rest of my life. So I'm not going to start a company and put it in my own name. It'd be dumb. And I certainly can go to friends, relatives, neighbors, or whatever and say, listen, you start a company and I'll help you out. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing illegal about it. And guess what? It ain't my asset.
That argument may put you in jail.
We'll see. I have an insane...
Yeah, it might put you in jail, Kevin. I think time has told on that subject. Moving on from this, we're going to talk about another con man who has really just rebounded shockingly well from his scandal. You know, Brian Rose has really totally given up the idea of ever pursuing the digital freedom platform or making that a thing. In fact, if you go to the donation page for Brian Rose, you know that thing, the big freedom platform he was pushing? Now it just redirects to his mayoral campaign. He's completely forgotten about it. Is he going to sue Google? Is he going to get free speech back? Nah, don't worry about that. Now he's running for mayor. So he's completely grifted everybody. That money's gone. It's been scammed. And yet, when you go to his videos, the comment section, which used to be all dislikes, is back to what it used to be. Like, no scandal. Everybody here is just agreeing with Brian. And you find out that he doesn't really suffer any consequences for it. This is like a bitter pill to swallow if you get really invested in this stuff. And it's why I really stopped getting invested in what happens. I just try to save people from these scams. But at the end of the day, if you look across history of scammers and how their career goes, they will always have victims. Kevin Trudeau, when he gets out of jail soon, you think he's going to go on the straight and narrow all of a sudden? Hell no. He's going to go right back to pitching, baby. Pitching new stuff. I guarantee it. I think he's about to get out of jail. And I think this will be borne out. Napoleon Hill, even if people knew that he was a scammer back then, what happened? People still followed him. You got School of Trading, gets indicted by the CFTC or, pays all these penalties. What's he still doing? He's still selling the course. People are still watching the videos. It's hard to understand from our perspective, but we have to understand it nonetheless because I think it gives us an insight into human psychology. We like people who sell us the dream. We like people who are narcissistic, who say they have all of the answers. It's tough. And you know what? It's not just Brian Rose. It goes to the tippity top. We've got old D. Trump. You guys know him. And listen, I'm not getting... Relax. Hey, a lot of you guys, you shrank back on me just now in your seats. You go, wait a second. What's he going to say about D. Trump? I'm just going to say this. We're keeping it not political, guys. We're keeping it away from politics. Just look at what he did before politics. Before having anything to do with politics, he was running a scam with ACN, which is a multi-level marketing company, where he endorsed them.
A great relationship with ACN, and the more I learn about them, the more I like and respect them.
Okay. He ran a scam with Trump University. We have Amish to tell us all about that. He also ran Trump Network, his own pyramid scheme, right? And yet, each time, he'd have victims, of course. But he just kept moving on, didn't care, and he keeps moving on. And guess what? He eventually gets the White House. And you know what? He's still doing it because he sends me, I'm on his emailing list. I'm on Trump's emailing list. Yeah, I'm a big deal, guys. The president emails me. He's always trying to get money from all his people on his email list. And he keeps saying, hey, if you donate now, I'll give you 1,000% matching on your donation. Now, is there any truth to that? No, that's a total lie and a known scam by politicians, which is somehow legal, where they tell you that your donation is going to get 1,000% matched. It's a complete demonstrable lie. And yet we don't care. We move on. And the reason I'm telling you guys this is not to bum you out. It's not to make you sad. It's to help equip you for understanding the trajectory of con artistry and to help you understand, don't try to end con artists forever. People always ask me, how can we help shut them down? I don't know. To ask the federal government to do more. They really don't. They don't do a lot. But until then, you can just inform people. If they don't listen, they don't listen. Just inform your friends. Don't let, your family get involved in these things. But other than that, that's basically all you can do, because at the end of the day, there's something psychologically irresistible about con men to most people. And it's a hard truth about life. And to close this off, I want you to just listen to Donald Trump pitch the Trump Network, because I think it's a great case study in how selling the dream, even when you know it's a scam, can be compelling, because they prey on your existing insecurities. They prey off the injustices in the world. You're going to hear him talk about how unfair it is that you don't have a fair shake at life, and how he just wants to help you. So try to listen to this Trump pitch with fresh eyes, because if you can understand the psychological manipulation behind this, if you can understand why this works, you're not going to have to watch another Coffeezilla video again. I hope you will. But yeah, I hope you learned something. I'll let this play out. I'll see you next time.
Hello, I'm Donald Trump, and welcome to the Trump Network. I want you to know why I'm so excited to be a part of this great organization. At no time in recent history has our economy been in the state that it is today. It's a mess. The economic meltdown, greed, and ineptitude in the financial industry have sabotaged the dreams of millions of people. Americans need a new plan. They need a new dream. The Trump Network wants to give millions of people renewed hope, and with an exciting plan to opt out of the recession. Let's get out of this recession right now. With cutting-edge health and wellness formulas and a system where you can develop your own financial independence, the Trump Network offers people the opportunity to achieve their American dream. I'm still looking for dreams. I'm doing damn well in life, but I'm still looking for the dream. It's a winning combination because it means you and your family can benefit financially from our breakthrough program. Follow our step-by-step success system that will help you grow your business. This journey is going to be a fantastic one, and you're going to have a lot of fun. The Trump Network is positioned to help millions of people overcome the recession and achieve the success they've always dreamed of. I hope you're going to join us. It's going to be fun and hopefully very profitable.
We have a problem in crypto. A few days ago, when I released my Scam Rewind 2021, some of the people mentioned in the video got very mad that I included them. They said they weren't scammers, they had merely promoted a scam, but they themselves were innocent. Now, I don't want to get into who it was because it's really not the first time I've heard of this. Multiple times I've heard the excuse from influencers, hey, I didn't scam anybody, I just promoted the scam to all my followers. I just didn't know what I was doing, and everyone ended up getting hurt. But that doesn't make me a bad guy. In other words, the defense is, I'm so dumb, I can't be held accountable for my actions. Sort of like the insanity defense, but for influencers. And to some extent, that does make sense. Crypto is complicated. Definitely too complicated for our lawmakers who don't even seem to understand the very basics.
Now, the number one threat to cryptocurrency is crypto. Bitcoin could be displaced by Ether, which could be displaced by Dodge, which could be displaced by Hamster Coin. And then there's Cobra Coin. And what could Mongoose Coin do to Crypto Coin?
Wait, I take that back. He does sound like he's onto something with this Mongoose Coin. And I tell you not to invest in it, but of course, people already have. But in all seriousness, today I want to begin educating people on how to evaluate new cryptocurrencies. So nobody can tell me, oh, I didn't know it was a scam. Hopefully this will cover some of the basics of some red flags you can look for. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a Coffeezilla Christmas. Don't forget to pump the stock. Today, of course, we're talking about how to evaluate stuff. So let's begin with a hypothetical. Let's say my stock market strategy just got killed by Twitter, and I need to move to crypto. I was insider trading based on Nancy Pelosi's insider trading, and both of us were killing the market, but suddenly my strategy's gone. Now, what do we do? Well, one option is to swing to the other side of the aisle and jump into crypto with Candace Owens. She says she's all in this coin called Let's Go Brandon. Now, if I'm dumb, I would say, hey, that's a meme. It's an influencer pushing a meme. Meme coins do well. I will invest all my money. But wait, this is the moment we can flex our investigation skills. What is this coin? Is it a scam? And how do we know it's a scam before it scams us? Well, there are some key indicators I want to explain to you guys about whether something is a rug pull or not. And this is not an exhaustive process. This is the bare minimum you should do. Let's start with the promotion. Does Candace Owens know anything about crypto? No. So it's probably a paid post, and upon further inspection, even the screenshot itself is pretty dishonest. From the picture that was posted, it looks like the coin is ranked 326, but in actuality, the screenshot has been cropped very carefully. In actuality, the coin is actually ranked in the 3000s, so that's bad. But next, we're going to talk about how much liquidity does this influencer token have. Now, what is liquidity? Well, most people are used to talking about crypto in terms of market caps. And from that, you'd see that Let's Go Brandon has about a $280 million market cap. Now, that sounds great. Sounds like a huge project, but there's a problem. That's not actually how much money is in the project. If you want to know how much money actually protects you from this thing going to zero, we have to look at something called liquidity pools. I won't bore you guys too much with the details because I know a lot of people don't care, but prices of coins like this are usually determined by decentralized market makers like Uniswap. I'll speed up a little bit because I know I'm boring people. If we use DEX tools or DBank, we can basically find that in the case of Let's Go Brandon, the amount of actual money that is in this project is roughly $3 million in Ethereum. That's right. You think you're invested in a $300 million project. In actuality, it's much closer to a $3 million project. And why does this matter? Well, you're at risk of a rug pull. Now, a rug pull is when somebody who owns a lot of the coin sells it all at the same time and the price craters to zero.
And now the mark. Oh! Oh! It went to zero!
And to understand what your risk is, let's look at the next part of our investigation. Who owns this coin? We can find this out by putting in their smart contract into Etherscan and clicking to the holders tab, which brings us here. And we find out here that the top 100 holders own 97% of this coin. In other words, most of the holders are whales. And why that matters is that they can easily siphon off all that $3 million of value basically at any time. Like, I did some quick napkin calculation, and even if just the number one holder who currently holds 22% of this coin, even if he just sells all his tokens, he would walk away with 96% of the total money. And the same is basically true of a lot of these other large holders. So if you're buying this coin, you're just sort of hoping that all these people don't take the money and run. And that's really bad. Oh, and to add insult to injury, this coin isn't original. It doesn't have a white paper, and there are 64 other coins currently exactly like it. And so the conclusion, well, you're going to get wrecked if you jump in this coin. Probably. And if you're Candace Owens, you've just sold out your followers and sentenced them to near certain financial ruin by promoting this coin as a funny meme to own the libs. The only people Candace Owens is actually owning are the people who buy this. Now, I don't care if you're a Democrat or conservative. I don't want to see anyone get scammed. My point here showing you this is that influencers of all shapes and sizes, political or not, are promoting this stuff with absolutely no idea what they're doing and hurting people in the process for a quick paycheck. But okay, now that you know a lot of these political people are grifting on you, you know the influencers are grifting on you, the last thing I want to discuss is what makes a good project, right? What's positive? Well, obviously, having a long track record is obviously very good. You also want a large liquidity pool and distributed ownership, so you're not at risk of a rug pull. And then I think the biggest thing, guys, the number one thing at the end of the day is just that these things have utility, ladies and gentlemen. Stop investing in these meme coins, please. They only are getting traction because you guys keep investing in them, and it drives me absolutely insane. I mean, look, that coin that we just looked at, millions of dollars have already been poured into it. But ultimately, it's one of 64 identical tokens. That token is never going in anywhere. And at the end of the day, guys, you should just only invest in projects that you actually understand and will have a real world value in the future. That's the only way they will survive. So yeah, if you just apply that basic common sense, you're going to save yourself a lot of time and money. And the same goes for influencers. If you're promoting something that's just based on a meme, you're going to wreck your followers. And you can't claim ignorance for it, guys. You can't claim ignorance, not anymore. We've gone through it now. So I hope everyone learned something. I hope that made a little bit of sense. Just use tools like Etherscan, DEX tools, DBank to try to figure out what's going on under the hood. If you spend a little time there, you're going to save yourself a lot of money. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys. And subscribe if you haven't already. We're trying to save the kids this month. All right. I'll see you.
Damn, okay. Getting by and I ain't got no bands, okay. Try your best but you won't understand, okay. You can't relate. This part of the story, then Japan away.
All of crypto is probably a Ponzi scheme.
Oh my gosh.
Even, I mean, I really don't want to call names here, but he pumps coins all the time.
If you want to, dude, do it.
Okay, I'm gonna just say one.
Okay, real quick before you start this interview, and we're going to talk about everything from BitConnect to the FBI to the SEC, suing Trayvon to Hex. We're going to talk about all of that, and I'm going to challenge Trayvon on a lot of it. Let me just say up front so there's no confusion, okay? This interview, I purposely went in pretty light-handed. I didn't want to come in shouting, partly because I don't know enough about crypto to feel like I really have the platform to do that, but also partly because I wanted to hear Trayvon's own case for himself. His whole idea of coming on was, you know, to have me hear him out on his explanation, so I decided to give him that. But I wanted, you know, to make it clear less that my lack of just yelling scammer on Zoom makes it seem like I'm implicitly endorsing him. I'm not. I would not trust Trayvon James with a single Satoshi of my money, okay? It's partly because from this interview, I'm pretty convinced that he doesn't know how to spot a scam or a Ponzi scheme. And he just sees things that make money as not a scam. And then as soon as it loses money, it is a scam. But that's not how anything works. So I don't trust it that way. And also, I don't mean to put it just on Trayvon, though. What I've learned after interviewing Asker Folman, Trayvon James, and now I also interviewed BitBoy Crypto after this interview, I've learned that I don't think you can really trust anybody in this space. Look, it's unregulated. So let me make the Coffeezilla position on all these guys clear, because we're going to do that interview with BitBoy Crypto later. You can look out for it another Sunday. Do not, I repeat, do not follow the advice of these crypto YouTubers. From talking to them, they're all talking about how other people have conflicts of interest and other people are running scams. But the reality is if everyone in the space is saying that, then it kind of tells you something about the space. Look, this market's unregulated, and at the end of the day, you got to watch out for numero uno. These guys aren't going to save you when you lose your money, and you'll find that in this interview. So, yeah, I wanted to have a casual, cordial conversation with Trayvon, but I wanted to make it clear my position on crypto YouTube. This industry is so full of scams. Look, obviously, there's also money to be made. I'm acknowledging that. But there's so many scams in this industry. It is unlike anything I've ever seen before. But with that said, I hope you enjoy. Should be an interesting interview. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll see you tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sunday Special, where I talk to whoever I want to, okay? Get over it. Get over yourselves. We got to do it how we're going to do it, okay? But today we're talking to, I apologize, Trayvon or...
You call me Trayvon. My parents call me Trayvon. People in the streets call me Trayvon.
James, I basically published a video about the Bitcoin community, sort of at the height of the recent Bitcoin bull run. And the next day, I think everything like fell apart. So I don't know.
We're going back up now. 37K.
But anyway, you reached out and you said, hey, I was inspired by this guy telling his story about, you know, how he got into crypto. It's this alluring space. He kind of did some things he regretted later. But you said you wanted to tell your story.
Yeah.
Now, do you want to give some background as to who you are real quick for my audience who isn't from crypto? Go back to maybe you should tell me your intentions of coming on, and then we'll talk.
So I watched what's his name?
Asker Folman.
Okay, I watched his interview, and I was inspired. Just because I haven't had a chance to vent, and I agree with a lot of things that he said, and there's a lot of YouTubers who do exactly what he does and still do it. And, you know, I want to tell my BitConnect story. You know, I've never told the story. I have never went on anyone's show and told the entire story. And I figured what better channel to do it than the guy who exposed the scammers.
Yeah, dude, let's do it. Hey, so for you guys who don't know, and I only found this after because I don't follow the space too closely. I'm not a big crypto guy. Only recently did I really even get exposed to much. So you guys are probably going to notice I'm not a genius when it comes to crypto. You're gonna have to accept that. But I did some digging into you, obviously, prior to this interview.
Mm-hmm.
So Trevon was one of the biggest promoter of
I was the
BitConnect.
biggest. Don't try to
Not
down
Carlos Matos. I thought it was Matos.
Carlos was very
So
low.
you screwed over a lot of people. A lot of people left hanging the bag. A lot of people left with the bag. A lot of people losing a ton of money. I'm just going to be real with you.
I screwed over.
Well, we're going to talk about that. See, that's what we can talk about.
Yeah, we're definitely have to get.
That's what we should talk about because that's why you're coming on. So to talk about it. So, but that gives people context. Even the government got involved. I think there's some lawsuits associated to this with I don't want to be wrong here. The SEC or somebody.
Yes.
Gotten
SEC.
a lot of calls from very big people.
Big boys.
Okay. So yeah, we're going to talk about that. And then you said you've been trying to clean up your brand going forward. So in the subsequent section, we'll talk about that. But you guys can make what you want out of it. But I want to bring people on who, we can have on. Trevon, you told me before this, I can be as hard as I want. So we're going to do that. And we're going to do it all.
All right.
Let's get into it. So tell me what happened with BitConnect, because you probably have the most infamous meme of BitConnect, or one of them.
Technically, I have one of the best memes.
Which is...
Everyone, listen up. You didn't lose your money. Now, you have your... Technically, you kind of lost your money.
Let's go back. I want to give people some backstory on me. Okay. A lot of people, there's a misconception about me that, I got into crypto through BitConnect, and that is very, very, very false.
Okay.
I got into crypto. Before I got into crypto, I was looking at I was charting, trading, doing all that stuff at least 2 to 3 years before I even discovered Bitcoin. Around 2015, I discovered Bitcoin. Bitcoin was around $369. I took about $50 and started gambling with Bitcoin sites. And I turned that $50 into like $100. And I was like, wow, if I could do this every day, man, I'm going to be rich. And then the next day I tried to double that 100 and I lost it all. So now I had to start doing a little bit more digging. And I got really, I was just really amazed by the technology of Bitcoin. So after that, fast forward a little while, started watching a couple of YouTubers, got inspired because I had YouTube channels before, and I used to do comedy channels. I used to do dancing. I used to do all types of YouTube channels. So I said, I can start a channel about crypto. There aren't many crypto YouTubers. It's a small niche. Maybe I can get some traction in there.
Sure.
So I started making YouTube content, just basically talking about the price. If you go back to my channel, you can see some of the old videos where I was talking about Bitcoin going to 5,000. It went way past 5,000, went to 20,000. So I was just documenting the price. Then I started finding these little platforms or mining, like Bitcoin cloud mining with Genesis Mining. So I started doing Genesis mining. I got really, that's where I made a killing. Not so much referrals later on, but in the beginning, just from being in it so early, made a killing on Genesis mining.
Did Genesis turn out to be a scam? It shut down, right?
Genesis mining is still going. Genesis mining isn't a scam. They actually have, I was about to say, they actually flew me out to Iceland. I think that was 2016. They flew me out to Iceland. I saw their mining rigs. They have a huge facility. They are really mining crypto they actually, I don't think they blindfolded me. They were gonna blindfold me, but they didn't blindfold me. Out in the middle of nowhere in Iceland. They're really out there mining. It's still going. So I made a killing with Genesis mining. So that's a misconception. People think that I made everything from BitConnect. And even, talking to the SEC and stuff, I had to tell them I was doing crypto way before BitConnect. BitConnect was later down the road. So
how much do you think you made from Genesis? Ballpark me.
I mean, tens of Bitcoin, which was later stolen, which I got hacked. We'll get there.
Oh, buddy, this is gonna be a good story. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if you want to interrupt and ask some questions in between, because I'll get through the whole thing in like 5 seconds.
No. What? keep going because I don't know that much about Genesis. I can't comment too much on it.
Okay, so Genesis, basically they mine the Bitcoin, and you can basically buy these mining contracts from them, and you basically rent their miners.
I understand the concept, that, like the cloud thing. I just don't know too much about how profitable that is, how not.
Oh yeah, it's not profitable. It is. I mean, it was profitable back then, but now they've kind of fallen a little bit because people aren't going for it. It's not profitable anymore. Cloud mining is not profitable. So if anybody out there, if anybody ever tells you to get in cloud mining, don't do it. You're better off just buying the Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying?
So after that, what happened?
After Genesis mining, that's when I started I found BitConnect. A fellow YouTuber, I'll call him a friend, Craig Grant. I don't know if you heard about him. He was doing YouTube videos. He actually discovered BitConnect and started doing videos about BitConnect first, and then that inspired me to get into it. And then I started, and that's where it started. He found it. It was a really small crypto at the time, and started doing videos and just kept making videos. That's basically how it started.
Sure. And so you start picking it up on it. You start making videos. Now, for those of you who don't know, BitConnect is called by many to be a Ponzi scheme. Would you agree with that?
Here's the thing. This is another common misconception with BitConnect. We still don't know if it was legit or not. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but one thing you have to consider is BitConnect was working. People were making crypto every single day and loving it. And then Texas stepped in. I think it was Texas first, and said, hey, cease and desist. And then that started a snowball effect of other states saying cease and desist. So they ultimately gave all the coins back. And that's where the scam kind of comes in, where it's like, hey, we want to give us our Bitcoin back. But they gave everybody their BitConnect coins back, because you remember you were locking up the BitConnect coins to earn, to earn interest on them. So people wanted their Bitcoin back. They gave them their BitConnect coins back.
Wait. Don't you mean they're locking up their Bitcoin to get BitConnect coins?
Yeah, it's been so long, I can't even really remember how.
But BitConnect, for everyone who doesn't know, was promising, I think, 1% steady returns, right, per day.
I know I'm going to sound like I'm defending BitConnect a lot, but there are a lot of misconceptions. There were days where we didn't get any interest.
Sure. But they were promising crazy returns.
They were promising interest. Yes.
Right. And so the question is, where were they getting that money from? And that's what makes a Ponzi scheme, is it requires people to keep putting money in order to pay out the other people. And so, of course, a Ponzi scheme I would call it a Ponzi scheme, but my problem is that it was going good. Like I would even argue the fact that a lot of crypto people are going to hate me for saying this, but all of crypto is probably a Ponzi scheme. Oh my gosh.
Now when I say, hold on a second. I know it sounds bad, but we have to break down what a Ponzi is. We get what we know what a Ponzi is, but Ponzi is a person. It's Charles Ponzi. It's named after a person. So
correct.
A Ponzi is actually just a way of moving money around. So it's not something it's not an evil thing unless you use it as an evil.
Wait. But it's a type of fraud because it has to collapse. So it's a type of business model that has to collapse. The reason it's named after Charles Ponzi is because he was selling these like postage stamps, and he said he was doing some arbitrage with postage stamps. He wasn't. So that's a big classic thing of Ponzi's. They say they're making money.
Doing what he said he was doing.
But that's true of most Ponzi schemes. They have an explanation, but what they say they're going to give you is these super inflated returns that are impossible. Right. And the way they pay you those returns, and the reason it looks like it's working at first, is because they're just paying you with new investors, and everyone's getting involved because, of course, everyone's making tons of money at first. But then when the bottom falls out, everybody gets screwed except for basically the initial investors and the guy who ran the Ponzi scheme. So most people get hurt, and then a small number of people profit a lot, and then there's the founder who makes a ton of money. So with that being said, and
But
you
let me clarify, because I don't want the crypto. I want to finish what I was saying about crypto being a Ponzi. I'm going to just use Bitcoin as the example.
Okay.
Bitcoin needs dollars going into it for the price to go up. That's just the simplest way I'm going to put it. Bitcoin needs money going into it for the value of it to go up, but it doesn't produce a interest or a return. But a lot of these projects in crypto are Ponzi schemes. I mean, it's just money coming in, and then when people start buying it, the price goes down. And that's how you get these small cryptocurrencies that pump up really high, and then they fizzle out, and then they just can't pump up again because no more money will come into them. That's what I mean by that. So I'm sure most OG crypto heads will agree with me on that. It's not saying that it's a bad thing as far as the Bitcoin part goes, but for the small projects.
Well, hang on, because currencies are not Ponzi schemes because they don't promise returns. The way something's a Ponzi scheme, it can't be a Ponzi scheme unless they say, hey, you're going to get this much. They're promising these wild returns, and then they're funding those returns. They're funding payouts.
So maybe Ponzi is a bad word for it, but basically if money stops coming into Bitcoin, it will stop going up in price.
Right. And that's true. And that's true of all currencies, is that if you lose faith in the currency,
isn't everything a Ponzi scheme then?
No, wait.
McDonald's a Ponzi scheme? McDonald's has to you got to keep money coming.
No. BitConnect is a Ponzi scheme because they were promising people insane returns. Bitcoin inherently, now there are people who are pumping like crypto, like as if it's a Ponzi by saying, oh, you're going to get these insane returns, whatever. But these things are not inherently Ponzi schemes because you don't have that business model set in the framework. Right. BitConnect had that in the framework. They said, give us Bitcoin and we'll give you back this thing at this crazy rate of return, right? So then when it started falling apart, they just left everyone else holding worthless crypto that no one wanted because right? Because Texas said to cease and desist.
But it was because of the government. It was the government's fault.
But wait. But if Texas hadn't intervened, more people would have gotten hurt. Do you see what I'm saying? Because Ponzi's have to fall apart. Because in order for them to pay people, you need more and more people at the bottom. But eventually you run out of people to get into your scheme because you have too many. Eventually, think about it.
Yeah, you're right about that. I never looked at it that way. Yeah, more people probably would have got hurt. I guess they stopped people from getting hurt. I guess they had to hurt, a little bit of people.
They shut it early. So then the people who probably would have maybe gone up, but then there would have been more people at the bottom.
It's like being on a ship and they're like, man, everybody's got to die but it's going to save, millions of lives.
Right. But that being said, it was a scam, though. Or do you agree with that? I want to make sure that you get.
I'm going to go ahead and say they probably didn't have a trading bot. I'm going to go ahead and say that. They probably didn't have a trading bot.
Oh, right. They had. Yeah, right. Okay. So go ahead.
So where was I in the story?
So you were saying.
Oh, yeah. So I found BitConnect. Yeah.
Right.
That's where I was. So I'm going to finish, keep going from there?
Yeah. So you found BitConnect. You started hyping it up, right?
Hyping it up. I don't think I wouldn't say hyping it up. My thing as a YouTuber, and well, as of now, I don't hype up things, but maybe back then I might have been hyping it up. I was doing it and telling people how great it was going. So I guess that's hyping it up, showing my experiences with it. I started with about $100, man. I put $100 in it, and then I made like this, and another thing, people call me a scammer, and it's like, no, man, because I wasn't out to hurt people. Everyone that was involved in this was doing great. So it wasn't that I wasn't intentionally harming anyone. So I set up these Facebook groups and was showing people like how to market it and stuff like that. Facebook groups didn't really get that big. I wasn't really big on it, but that's how I kind of started it. Click my link. I'll add you to this Facebook group, and that was kind of the incentive to join under me. And once I kind of got that snowball rolling, it was the first time I ever was successful at a MLM or referral type program, and it was incredible to watch it grow and grow and grow and grow. So yeah, I started with $100. Started doing videos, and one morning I remember waking up and I had a couple $1,000. And keep in mind, I wasn't really even after Genesis. Now with Genesis, you got to remember Bitcoin was cheap back then. So when I say tens of Bitcoin, it might sound like a lot now, but back then, Bitcoin was maybe like $1,000. So I mean, like $10,000. It's not that much back then. So to wake up one morning and have made almost as much as I made the entire time in Genesis was like, whoa, okay, this is about to get crazy. And I just kept showing my results. Like I wasn't really at that point, I wasn't really telling people to get into it. It was just more of, whoa, I woke up this morning, I'm live streaming. This is how much I have in my BitConnect wallet. This is how much I made today. And then I'll do it again the next morning. I just kept doing that. And I guess the whole transparency of me showing how much I'm making, that's what really hyped it up. When I got to like,
well, I mean, I think it was a little bit more than you just showing. I mean, you were telling people you got to get into BitConnect, and you used your profits as proof of why they should get in. But you were telling everybody to get in with you, right?
But yeah, of course, I wanted people to make money. Like it's not like I was expecting anything to go wrong. See, people, that's the thing. You got to think about in the moment. In the moment, this is great. It's working. I mean, what you want me to say? It's bad. Now, one thing I wish I would have done, now people ask me if you could go back, would you do it again? Would you not get in BitConnect? I would do everything the exact same way. But what I would do this time around is I would tell people to be a lot more careful. Knowing what I know now, I would tell people, because I had really never gotten into anything that was really bad before. So I wasn't expecting anything to go wrong. I got into crypto at the bottom in 2015 when Bitcoin was $300. Everything's going up. Everything that I get in, everything I touch turns to gold. So why would this be any different? So the one thing I wish I would have done is I would have told people to be more careful and do your own research. And that's what I definitely say now. I definitely tell people I'm way more cautious when I'm talking about crypto these days. Like, because I've seen a bear market, I've seen so many scams. It's most likely a scam. If it's crypto, it's most likely going to go down in value. But now everything's moving though. So
okay. Hold on though. Hold on. I just want to clarify. A scam is not when something goes down and then it's great if it goes up, because then things could be not a scam and then suddenly turn into a scam. The business model itself can just be bad. It's a bad business model that will fail.
A scam to me is something that's intentionally out to rip people off. That's what a scam is to me. I said scam. Now, a scam is different from a failed project. So, but there are still a lot of scams in crypto. There are a lot of projects that are intentionally out to, hey, this is something, but we're really not doing anything.
But I think what you're saying is you were new to crypto, you were hyping it up, you were marketing it, but you're saying basically you didn't know it was a scam.
No, I didn't know it was a scam. I knew there were risks, in the BitConnect token going down, but I didn't think that, there was a risk. And then, I mean, all I saw the entire time I was in BitConnect is it going up. It went up the entire time until the very end.
Now, do you feel any, because it's interesting, because you're saying, okay, I didn't know it was a scam. It turned out to be a scam. Basically, how much fault do I hold? And actually, I'm actually curious, how much fault do you think you hold for all the people who lost, a life savings with
I'm sure I'm at
or
fault
tens of thousands?
I'm at fault to a certain extent, because even myself, and I'm going to get to some of these YouTubers, even myself, I go into things because someone else went into it. When a YouTuber like this is what inspired me to come on here, because a lot of what that YouTubers said is true. A lot of these guys are pumping coins and wrecking people and saying, oh, this is for entertainment. This is not financial advice. They're just saying that to cover their ass, but really they're like, come on.
Right. They know what they're doing. They know they're hyping it up.
Yeah. They know they're hyping it up. They're really trying to get people to pump the coin, but they're covering their asses. If I can curse, they're covering their asses by, saying this isn't financial advice. So I forgot where I was going with that, but yeah.
No, I think that's really interesting. I mean, do you have an experience? You don't have to name names here, where a crypto YouTuber purposely pumped a coin. I know you're being like, yeah.
This is why I wanted to go. This is why I was so inspired.
And then
all of them.
had a huge stock and then sold it off like right when they pump it.
Man, I really don't want to call names here, but
If you want to, dude, do it.
I don't really want to because I don't want to sound like I'm hating, but a lot of these guys are starting to. Okay, I'm gonna just say one. And this is because I had experience. BitBoy Crypto, he pumps coins all the time. All of these coins. Now, some of them do well. I'll give him that. Some of them do well. But the one that I said, you know what? I don't watch BitBoy Crypto, but I'm going to subscribe to him today. And I'm going to go buy the coin that he talks about today. I went and bought this coin called Ethies. Now, I haven't checked on it in a while, so it might be up. But I bought that thing. It pumped, right after his video published. And ever since, it went down. And I said, man, this is not cool. You know what I'm saying? It was the first time that I actually went to a YouTuber and was like, I'm gonna just take this as I'm gonna do what most people are gonna do, which is buy this shit. Because I don't chase coins and chase pumps and stuff like that. I'm way past that. If you watch my channel, you'll hear me say, hey, Bitcoin, Ethereum. If you're most likely, if you're in anything, look at the chart versus Bitcoin, look at it versus Ethereum, and it's most likely been going down versus both of those the entire time. So you're better off just holding Bitcoin and Ethereum. And this coin did exactly that. So all of these YouTubers, all of these crypto influencers are influencing people to get wrecked. If you get your followers wrecked, they're gonna stop following you. You know what I'm saying? So
you know what's interesting about the BitBoy Crypto thing?
Oh, you've seen him before?
No.
Oh, okay.
I hadn't seen him before a few days ago. I'm interviewing him tomorrow.
Oh, it's interesting.
Yeah, he reached out to me after that interview. And he was like, hey man, want to come on. What should I know about that guy?
I don't really know about him. I just know that he gets into projects. Okay, so this is what happens. They have these Telegram channels. They have these Discord groups. There are these things called pre-sales in crypto. The pre-sale will have a funding round. They have a seed round, a private seed, a private round, all these early rounds, and they'll get some people to invest. And then they'll say, all right, we're going to start marketing after they release the coins. The price goes up a little bit. And they say, all right, we're going to start marketing. We're going to hire some YouTubers. They go out and they reach out to YouTubers, BitBoy Crypto, Elio Trades, all these popular shitcoin YouTubers. They reach out to them and then they start chattering. All right, guys, BitBoy's going to do a video this day. He's going to do a video on this day right here. Oh, the video's going to be uploaded. And all that time, the price is running up. And then he publishes the video and the price just shoots up. And then all those people that weren't in the pre-sale, that they buy into it. And then all the people that were in the pre-sale, they dump the price on all of those YouTube fans. They sell to them. They sell the coin to them. And now all those YouTube people that watch this video are holding bags of these coins that might pump one day, but you're holding a bag. That's opportunity cost. You could be in something, you could be holding ETH while it's going up. You could be in Bitcoin while it's going up. So they're wrecking people. Now, and they're getting paid to wreck people. Now that's the only thing
that's what I don't understand. As I was so I've just been researching more into crypto because the community's kind of been talking about crypto. Crypto's been on everyone's mind.
Yeah.
I tell people I've encountered, I basically look at scams all day long. It's like basically what I do now.
Yeah. I love your channel, bro.
So check this out. So I've seen a lot of communities and there's like different percentages of how much it's a scam. I've never seen a community with so many scams.
Yeah,
Why is crypto so uniquely poised for scams?
It's easy, especially with especially with DeFi right now on Ethereum. I've never done this. I can go make a ERC20 token, a Ethereum token, pair it with a little bit of ETH, 50-50, put it on Uniswap, give it a pretty logo, and go reach out to all my buddies and say, hey, this is the next big thing. And have no plan, have a pretty website, nice graphics,
nice
and
little white paper that sounds good.
White paper, nice graphics, nice futuristic graphics. Start getting some people to pump the coin. The price starts going up. And as the price starts going up, the reason the price goes up as far as Uniswap, that ETH that people are putting into Uniswap makes the price go up. But there's more ETH going into Uniswap, as well as less coins in Uniswap, right? Because you paired it with 50-50. What happens then is a thing called a rug, where they just take all that ETH, the person that provided the liquidity, because they're providing liquidity, they have that. They have that ETH now.
Right.
They can just take all that ETH out and just be gone. So that's why it's so many scams, because it's so easy to launch one. So you really got to do your own research and make sure you're in something legit. Anonymous teams, just go ahead and say no. That's a no. If it's an anonymous team, just don't even mess with it. If they don't want to show their faces, maybe I get why. The regulation is kind of up in the air as far as regulation goes. So maybe they want to be anonymous. But for me, if it's anonymous, or if it's not by some a circle of people that I'm kind of familiar with in crypto, I'm just not gonna even mess with it.
Okay, so we talked about how there's all these scams being run. Okay. What have you done in crypto? Have you taken some deals under the table?
Oh, as far as sponsorships?
Yeah.
Very, very rarely. The most I did it was in the bear run with dApps. A lot of stuff I did sponsorships with did well, but over the long run, they didn't do well. I haven't done a sponsorship. I mean, I might have done a total of like 5 of them my entire time in crypto. I might have did like 5 of them. And I don't ever feel good when I do it. So I started sending you a screenshot.
But why do it though? Why do it if you don't feel good? Because if you don't feel that good, that's a symptom of that you shouldn't do it.
I don't feel good when things go bad. Like I won't do a sponsorship unless I think that it's good. But I don't do them. You know what I'm saying? The last time I do them with people that I know. Like there are a circle of developers that I know, and they're like, hey man, I'll slide you some coins, you just do a video. I do them on my dApp channel. My dApp channel is like the most risky. That's where I do the most risky stuff. And the people that are on there, it's a small group of people who know what's up. Like all of the people in my membership, they know what's up. But I always say, do your own research. This is very risky. You're probably gonna lose your money. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I haven't done a sponsorship in a long time. I'm not doing them at this I'm not doing them at the scale of what BitBoy is doing. Like this guy's getting paid that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he's getting like $20,000 for a sponsorship video. I'll never get that much. You know what I'm saying? I never do it on a grand scale like that. For me, it's like a lot of the time people say, I'll be like, nah, man, don't even worry about it. I'll just do a video on it. I don't ever, if I want to do it, I'll just do it without the pay. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing it on the scale. Like Ivan on Tech, this guy's got a course that's like $10,000. I don't even know how. Ivan on Tech has a course that's like $10,000. If you got $10,000 to give Ivan on Tech, you don't need, you just do your own, you know what I'm saying? You don't even need to know what he's you know what I'm saying? He's not going to teach you anything. If you're already rich, if you can give Ivan on Tech $10,000.
But here's the thing I'm hearing from and the picture that I'm getting of the crypto community. It's that there's like people at the top that are in the know, which are basically that have, honestly, if you really want to I would say scam people, but also make the most money, developer. Then underneath that, and then like kind of near that is like if you're a YouTuber in crypto. Oh, because you make profits on both, where you're like making money from pumping these things, you're making money from sponsorships, you're making money from having access to these, these seed rounds that maybe nobody else has access to, these initial coin funding rounds, and then all the way at the bottom, way down at the bottom of opportunity, and most of the people who end up holding the bag are the people who are trusting these two.
Yeah,
which are like. That's the sucky thing to me. And then, of course, you can always say, well, didn't you do your own research? It's like, no, you're the YouTuber whose job it is to do the research. And then like people are trusting you.
That's another reason why I don't like looking into these shitty ass projects to see if they're even legit or not. I don't like doing that. You know what I'm saying? I don't do, like, I know it sounds like, but it's been so long since I've done like a sponsored, you know what I'm saying? And I'll say, hey, but this is sponsored, man. So I like the last couple that I did, man, they were so funny because I was like, yo, this is sponsored, man. So this is, come on, man. Like, let's get real. Like, I don't know what the fuck this shit is, man. Like, I keep it so real these days. Like, I'm not sugarcoating, but I'm just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just hating, but I'm hating on how like the morality, like to do something. The moment that I see something go extremely wrong after a sponsor post, I wouldn't do it anymore. Like, how do you pump a coin? It loses so much value, and all your fans are holding bags, and then the next day you do another one. Like, I don't see how they're doing it, man. I don't see how that people are letting them get away with it. Like, people so hard on me, but everybody
you feel like you're unfairly treated?
Of one rug, which was BitConnect.
One of the biggest rugs.
Man, there are going to be some big rugs, man. When the market, as the liquidity and stuff on Uniswap grows, the rugs are just gonna get. They're already bigger now.
Can I tell you why I think you get a lot of hate?
Why?
I think it's because of. I think your attitude was very much like, it's not my fault. You guys should have just done.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, I wish I would have been more humble. I wish I would. That's like I say, there's a few things I wish I could have changed. One is I wish I would have told people to do more research and let them know how risky crypto is. But I didn't really know how risky crypto was because I
feel like you were a beginner at that time, advising a bunch of other beginners, basically, because you only had
when things are going well, right? Who hadn't been through when things are bad,
right? Okay, so with so now you're like, what's your new? So you said you're trying to rebrand. I think in your message to me, maybe, or something to that extent. And that's to sort of get away from that, Trayvon. Is that what you're saying? Kind of.
No, I'm not changing my name. That's one thing that people.
Oh, not from the name. I mean, from what do you call it? Stereotype or that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really trying to rebrand. I'm just being more realistic, being that I've been through an entire bear run in crypto. I see how most things don't go well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm definitely telling my followers, most likely you're better off just holding Bitcoin and Ethereum. Even Ethereum, I would say, it's gonna probably produce more gains, but the goal is probably to stack Bitcoin. People shill me these coins every day on my live streams, and it always comes down to, if it's down a lot, maybe get you some. But if it's going up, you miss the boat. Like, it's those type of little lessons that I've learned that I'm trying to teach new people instead of, it's going great. It's going great. It's going great. Because it's going to go great, but it's going to go bad. So, rebrand. I'm not really rebranding. I'm just growth. I would say it's growth.
Okay. So one question I want to ask you is that, obviously the BitConnect fallout happens, but the story doesn't end though, because obviously all these articles come out, but more than that, this is one of the few cryptos that, falls apart that really the government comes after. So you got contacted by a lot of these feds. What? Tell me the story there. What happened?
Think about it. To look back. So the first time I got contacted, I was in my little apartment. I think it was the FBI. They were knocking on my door, and I didn't answer the door. They were like, Trayvon, we just want to talk. We just want to talk to you, blah, blah. We was in there quiet as hell, boy. We was in there so quiet. I'm like, yo, this shit getting real. So then they called me. I kind of like, I don't want to say I ran, but I kind of like, we went and stayed at a hotel for like my son's birthday or something like that for a couple of days. And they called me. I'm not sure if they called Craig Grant first, but somehow he gave me their number, and I talked to them, and I had a long conversation with them. And they were talking about my stolen Bitcoin. The FBI wanted to talk about my stolen Bitcoin. So I got a whole nother stories. I got hacked for 111 Bitcoin. When Bitcoin was maybe about $7,000. I got hacked for 111 Bitcoin. A lot of people think I faked it, but the FBI and them, they know for sure that shit is gone. So I got hacked for 111 Bitcoin. And that's what they talked to me about. And they talked about BitConnect a little bit. And then after that.
Wait. Hold on. That's $3 million right now.
Don't remind me.
Over
Remind
that.
me, man. I try so hard not to
Sorry,
think about how much that shit is worth.
Oh.
I tried.
You got hacked for 111 Bitcoin? How?
I was on a live stream. I was on Instagram live stream at the time. And I think what happened is they took my they did a SIM swap where they get my they got my name and stuff, and they get my phone number, and they called my cell company and acted like they were me and got my SIM swap. And then they went into my two-factor and they got into my email, which was really new with me to have my private keys in my email. So don't ever do that. Don't ever keep your private keys, especially if you're a high profile person. Don't keep your private keys in the email address. I had them saved in drafts. They went in there, took all my crypto out my wallets, live on live stream. And at the time I was just like, damn, because BitConnect was still going. So I was like, I'll make it back. That's like 90 days worth of BitConnect. You know, I'll get it back. So yeah, I got hacked for that. Then so the FBI called me about that, and then the SEC. They reached out to me, and I also got served at the hotel by the state SEC.
Wait, can I just say something real quick for anyone who has two-factor authentication? Hold that thought right there. Nobody who has two-factor authentication who's high profile should be relying on their cell phone number to be their second-factor authentication, because everyone just does SIM swaps now.
I mean, I wouldn't even really recommend.
You need a physical key. You need a physical security key. And if you don't have one, get one. Even honestly, if you're just like a normie with like some money, never use your phone
and
number.
Don't use Ledger. Use Trezor. Ledger always has data breaches, so you're gonna get death threats and stuff from people that have your address, and they're gonna act like they're outside your house.
Oh, that's why. I don't know all the. That's how much I'm not in this world. Like I don't know the crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy
So don't ever. If anybody ever. I mean, I'm never mind. I'm just gonna say if somebody ever threatens your life for crypto, I'm gonna say it's probably a fake, but it might be real. So the SEC, they reached out to me, and we're going back and forth, and then they want me to, settle, and I didn't even get a lawyer. Like, I got a lawyer for my state case, and then when I went to the state to have my testimony. And then I realized how little my lawyer did. I was like, man, I probably didn't even need that guy. That was a waste of money. So then the SEC, the federal SEC, they started reaching out to me after that. They gave me a subpoena to come testify in New York, right beside the World Trade Center. This is like the real thing. I went in there by myself, testified, and then they started asking me. They asked me questions. A lot of people think I snitched on people. I didn't snitch on anybody. I didn't know anything to even snitch on. So I told them the story.
Would you have? Be honest. Be honest. If you were facing, let's say you're like 6'9", you're facing like 20 to life, and you know some people that you could snitch on to get out.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not like a rapper. I'm telling.
Okay. All right. I was just asking, just hypothetical.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm telling for sure. So I went up there, told them the story. And they started getting into they started playing my videos in front of me, and I went ahead and had to throw that fifth in there. I had to plead the fifth, and then they sent me home. And then they started talking about settling, and they were trying to get me for some securities law from 1940 something, man.
Probably
a law
securities
from
fraud.
1940s. I'm like,
I shouldn't honestly be laughing because it's such a serious topic. But I can't get the 110 Bitcoin out of my head. So then like, I can't.
And I mean, that's like, and then I'm like, I don't have it. They're wanting me to settle for like this huge amount. I'm like, guys, I don't know who the fuck y'all think I am, but I don't have that, man. So I haven't really heard anything back.
How much money did you lose when BitConnect crashed?
Did I lose? I mean, I had 700,000 in loans. I don't know how much. I mean, I don't even remember, man. I got my coins back, and they were instantly like worthless. And I told SEC, I was like, I bought these things on the way down, man. Like I was so convinced, man. I'm like, man, this thing is they got something. Because I was talking to Glenn, the guy who was actually above me, and he was like, I'm not sure if he was saying don't sell or just hold them or something like that. But he had me in the palm of his hand. Like he was like, nah, man, it's gonna be good, man. Don't worry about it. And nah, man, that thing never
probably
came.
telling
I
you to
still
buy
have all
them.
my coins.
No. How much do you how if it was worth the max price, how much would that be worth if in coins? It's like
I have
400
like
bucks.
6,000 BitConnect coins now.
Okay.
So I say that these BitConnect coins, the BitConnect coins that I have, are worth a lot because I own them. So that makes them more special. So I'm gonna hold on to them. They're like Beanie Babies.
You just can't sell them right now.
Yeah, I wish there was a way.
27
There'll be a way to
something
sell them one day. Escrow.
So with all of that, like kind of like wider context, I do have to really grill you on something. What's up with the hex? You're pitching hex like it's nobody's business.
Not
You
really.
made a bunch of videos about hex. And
how many videos did you see about hex?
Like probably 4 or 5, maybe. I don't know.
I did on my main. Well, first off, hex is up. Like
that is a scam, bro. Come on, that's a scam.
No, it's not a scam. I mean, it might be. It might be. And I will say that. After this is over, I will send you my first video that I did on hex. And it's probably the one with the most views. And since then, it's went up a shit ton. What I like about hex is I know who I can point the finger at. We all know who it is. That's the hilarious thing about it. I mean, I treat it like a comedy thing, like Richard Hart. At least with BitConnect, we didn't know who.
Is that his real name?
Richard Hart? I don't think so. I think his last name is something else.
I don't think people know his last name. So who can you point the finger at?
But I mean, hex.
So this is my one problem because
okay. Let me just ask you since I know, but I want to know why do you think hex is a scam?
Okay, so this is why I think hex is a scam. And let me preface this by saying this is the thing that I think this is my real bone to pick with you, because I can understand how you can get into BitConnect and sort of be sort of naive. You push it really hard. You get this huge blowback. You kind of fight back against it. Doesn't make it right. Doesn't make the losses right. But if you learn from that and then like really got diligent with not pitching another scam, that's like, I get that. I get the arc. I get the character arc basically. And you can really make the argument like, hey man, that was a big mistake that I made. But I see you pitching hex, and then that like story becomes harder for me to believe, and it makes me think that,
like I'm not.
Wait, I'm gonna explain.
I haven't did a video on hex since it's went up. I stopped talking about it because it's up so much. Like only time I talk about it is on my live stream. People ask about it. I never say, hey man, you guys should look into hex, man. Hex is doing real good. You guys should buy some hex. I never do that. You're watching old videos that the price is higher, but you still haven't told me
right. I'll explain. No. That's what I'm saying. I think that's where the disconnect is I think for like the story that I'm hearing is that like, if it's up, it's not a scam, but that has nothing to do with whether it's up. Hex is going to like, it will eventually die. And I'll explain
why do you think that though?
So Richard Hart, right, built into hex is him getting a 45% stake of hex. Built into it is this origin address, which he says, no, we don't know who has it. Hey.
Well, we know that. He's saying that, but
we know he has it, right?
In these videos, I will say, we know, like, he's saying that he's not the origin address, but we know who the origin address.
So he's got right into
That's what I mean.
He's got 45%. He's got 45% of the hex.
Yes.
Then he's got, anytime you have a penalty, so you withdraw your stake early, and this is gonna go over some people's heads. But if you withdraw your stake early, the penalty, what is it? Like half of it goes to the origin address too. So then he gets half of that.
Some of it goes to the origin address, yeah.
And then some of it goes to the payout. But then what about all that ETH everybody's staking? Hey, are we just trusting? Are we trusting the kind heart of Richard Hart?
What it is, and I will say that
what
in the video. Now let me tell you what. Now this is what I think, and I talked about hex today. Like I'm not liking what's going on with hex. I said that today in my live stream. Like, I know it's kind of hard to be cool with this, but you kind of have to keep up with the story. You know what I'm saying? Like, I might feel one way about something one day and then feel a different way about it the next. Now, the thing with Hex is he hasn't sold one Hex from one of those origin addresses. So I got to give him that. He hasn't sold one coin. Now, another thing, the reason he has all, as far as what I can see, the reason he has all those coins is to have a high market cap. Also, it's easier to pump the price when the way he has it set up on liquidity. So all of that stuff, it kind of like makes the project do what it's been doing, which is go up a shit ton in price. Now, I get what you're saying about,
and that represents more investors.
That doesn't mean it's a scam. I get what you're saying there. And also, nothing's a scam until it's a scam, until it's gone. You know what I'm saying? So
No, wait. But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying so many things in crypto are scams. So whose job is it to filter out the noise from the signal, the good from the bad? You might say it's the individual crypto investor. They have to figure out with every coin. That's what I think it is. I think it's the influencer's job.
It's the influencers.
So you got to know before you pump a coin, not the ongoing story of whether it's turned into a scam yesterday or today, but is it going to turn into a scam? How likely is it to turn into a scam?
I would say it's not likely
down the road.
I know it's gonna sound crazy, but I'm gonna say it's not likely that Hex is a scam, man.
Okay.
I know it sounds crazy, but because I followed it so much since the beginning, since before he even launched it, I've been following Richard Hart for years. I've been watching him talk and stuff. So I've been following him for a long time. So I would say it's more likely that it's not a scam. And it's going to keep going up in price because of the way that it's designed, because of the way the liquidity pool and stuff is set up. So when I got into Hex, it was really, really cheap and it's gone up a lot. Now, I saw how it worked and understood how it worked because I had been doing DeFi before then, and I understood how massively the potential was on it, and it's pumped a shit ton since then. Now, is the scam? I don't know. It probably isn't.
Well, let's no. Let's look at the interests of Richard Hart, because there's very few people there's a lot of people saying it is a scam. Very few people who aren't. One of them is obviously Richard Hart. He's their biggest spokesman. But all you have to think about is, would Richard Hart be shilling this coin if it wasn't his coin? Hell no, because he would he's criticized several times when other founders take huge cuts of their own coin. And then what does he do when he starts a coin? So he would have criticized that if it had been somebody else's coin. And what does he do? He gives himself a 45% stake. That's ridiculous. Then think about this. Let's say you got all this ETH staked, right? And a lot of it's coming due. So all of a sudden he's got to send out a ton of money. Right now, he's got the ETH and he's got the Hex, and he can sell that whenever he wants. So he's happy. But what I'm thinking is that, let's say you're Richard Hart, maybe you're looking for a little exit. You could try to keep this coin speculative going forever and then give all these people back their ETH. Or what does he have? Like several $1 million just people gave him in Ethereum. He just decides, hey, I'm actually going to take it.
All right. Here's the thing.
What's to stop him from doing that?
He can't, for one, Richard Hart is already rich. Do you agree with that? Do you think he's rich already?
Rich people always want to get way richer.
Yeah, but let me answer that question though.
Sure. I don't know, but sure.
Already, right?
Yeah.
Okay. There's only about $1 million in liquidity on Uniswap. So if he was going to just sell all that Hex and exit, he wouldn't walk away with like a couple $1 million. So it wouldn't even be worth the scam. You know what I'm saying?
But what if he walked away with all the Ethereum?
He's been using that to pump the price. He could, but
well, how much money would he walk away with?
From what I hear, if you go watch some of Richard Hart's early videos, and what you'll see is someone who, I know it's gonna sound cheesy, but someone who kind of wants to help the world. Like he was doing videos that weren't getting any views, talking about how to help yourself, why you should stop playing video games, why you should stop gambling, stop trading. Like he's been trying to help the world. He's written books about how to live a better life. So I don't know, man. I've always given, from the beginning of when I got into Hex, I've always given both sides. It might go really bad, but if it does, at least we know it's Richard Hart. And it might be he's trying to create an epic name for himself and make one of the highest appreciating assets of all time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got into Hex
based on a 1-year track record. I mean, that's nothing. During
1 year no, I mean,
during a 1-year track record when he's giving away most of the currency. I mean,
oh,
yeah.
you're talking about Hex?
Yeah, Hex is what I'm talking about.
I mean, I'm talking about, you talking about the track record of Hex, yeah. I mean,
well, you were saying like one of the best asset track records of all time.
No, I'm saying that's what he wants to create.
But what I'm saying is the reason his asset has pumped so much is because it's the first year and he's basically giving away most of the currency. After this,
it's all pumped so much because there's not much liquidity and he's using the ETH to pump the price. That's why it's pumped so much and people are buying it and they're staking. Like, it's a lot of mechanics that as someone who's not really into how the contracts work, don't understand. The reason it's pumping is because people are locking up the Hex and staking it for 15 years, and he has this shit ton of Hex that he's just not even touching. So it's making the price go up. You know what I'm saying? It's really he's really giving everybody free. You're right. He's giving everybody free gains because he could just take the liquidity or just take everything, but he's using it to pump. It's obviously him that's pumping the price because he's obviously one of the Genesis whales of Ethereum. So he's the one that's buying.
Been a good idea? Wait. But when has it ever been a good idea to invest your money with some relatively unknown guy with zero accountability and zero recourse? What are you going to do if he runs away? You said, like, we know who did it. Okay, so what?
For me,
did it. I mean, you going to find him? I mean, how are you going to, what are you going to,
I'm not suggesting anybody buy Hex. I haven't suggested anyone buy Hex since before the big payday. That's the last time I was like, man, I'm buying. I wasn't even suggesting. I was talking about what I was doing, buying Hex before the big payday to get that big payout. And since then, I've just kind of laid off of it. You know, like now let's see.
But you're saying
he removed a lot of the liquidity.
You're saying you may have pumped a fraud only a few times. So what's the big deal? And I'm saying that's your job not to pump frauds, though.
No, I mean, I'm not. But I don't know if it's a fraud. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it's a scam, man. I think it might be something great. I think people are just hating. Like, from the beginning, people were just hating on it from the beginning. I just think that I don't think it's a scam, though, man.
Well, people were hating on it from the beginning because it was how it was set up to just benefit.
All of them are
the
set
founder.
up like that, though. All of cryptocurrencies are set up where half of the developers and stuff get. I mean, all of them. Literally all of cryptocurrencies nowadays are set up where the founders get and the developers.
Yeah, because people have figured out that that's an easy, get rich quick scheme, right?
Say what?
It's an easy get rich quick scheme to do that. Is just give yourself a ton of crypto, then hype it up with other people.
So my question is, here's the thing, like, me too, like, this gets me in trouble too, is I like to root for underdogs. You know what I'm saying? So Hex is an underdog for sure. Why is it not okay for him to do it? And he doesn't even touch any of the coins. He doesn't stake them. So being that he doesn't stake them, the community gets more rewards. Because if he staked them, the community won't get any rewards. So he doesn't stake them. He doesn't sell them. You know what I'm saying? If anything, he buys more.
He hasn't so far, and it's been in his interest not to do so.
Say what?
You said he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. I'm saying it's not because he can't or won't. He just hasn't yet because it's in his interest to basically pump this thing as big as it can. And then as soon as he sees, you know what? Hey, I don't want to do this forever. Actually, you know what? Actually, this is kind of dying a little bit. Let me just grab my money while I can and leave everyone else with the bag.
Man, he could, but what I saw in the beginning
full of those
was
stories. So
opportunity
where's
for me and my followers to get paid. And then when it pumped up, I was right. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't pump something that dumped on everybody 5 minutes later. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get paid by Hex. You know what I'm saying? I saw something that everybody thought is a bad idea, which is actually turned out to be a really, really good idea. And then once I seen how high it was, I said, all right, I think that's enough. I think it might be time to shut up about this and maybe walk off with the gains. Because I've learned that if you keep on hyping it, you're going to be hyping it and it's going to fall. You know what I'm saying? So I've laid off of the Hex content long time ago. I only talk about Hex when people ask about it on live stream. And then when they
Yeah.
ask about it, I'm like, oh, it's going up.
Yeah, I mean, just me, it's like, yeah, like I
But I
wrote.
definitely feel what you're saying as far as like being the person who protects people and who vents things, who you know,
Right, because
filters through the
Bitcoin,
bad stuff.
you get the BitConnect was a great investment right up until the time it crashed. I mean, that's what how scams are, right? It's like, so you're saying like, oh yeah, I was making some my money for my followers, but it's like you're subjecting them to tremendous amounts of risk that
if they invest too much, you know what I'm saying? And that's why and that's another thing. Like if depending on who you're following, they might not tell you, hey, don't go all in. Don't, you know what I'm saying? They might say, this is the greatest shit ever. You know what I'm saying? In my first video of Hex, I talked about, I'll send it to you. I talked about, it's called 5 Reasons Why You Should Look Into Hex. It didn't say why you should buy Hex. It's 5 reasons why you should look into Hex. You see what I'm saying? It's stuff, it's little things like that change. It might change someone's action. If I would say 5 reasons why you should buy Hex, that might make someone go buy it. But no, just look into Hex. Maybe instead of listening to everybody calling it a scam, maybe look into it and do your own research. You know what I'm saying? And if they did and they bought some, they came up. You know, so it's tough. I'm with you on as far as like filtering things, but I'm not sure. I'm with you as far as okay, it might lose momentum and he might scam out. I don't think he's gonna do that. If anything, I think he's gonna just pinch away at the liquidity like he's been doing. And then, you know, that might be the exit, but it'll always be there. It's not a platform. The worst that he could really do is, you know, I mean, what is the worst that he could do? The worst that he could really do is just remove all the liquidity. And even if he did that,
he could take all the Ethereum, right?
I mean, he's already got all the Ethereum.
No, but
he already has the Ethereum. The Ethereum on Uniswap is paired with Hex. It's not even that much Ethereum. It's not even nothing to even shout about. It's just a couple million dollars. So the worst that he could really do is take that, unless like, what would he do that? So
that's a
the
lot.
The fact that it's up so high, it's got a huge community and it's got the liquidity. It's not really too much that he could do to hurt it, besides, you know, quitting and saying, all right, guys, I'm done. And it'd be up to the community. So it's gonna always be Hex. It's gonna always be on Ethereum. It's gonna always have that.
No, I think if he does anything wrong, everyone immediately loses faith in Hex, and Hex dives to zero. Because obviously you don't want any kind of contract. You don't want any smart contract. Well, fair enough, but you don't want any smart contract where it's basically based on the trust of somebody who has basically signaled to the whole group that I'm not trustworthy. So if he does anything wrong, everybody who's holding Hex is basically holding a worthless coin.
Yeah, that's true. If he does it, if I would say if he gives up, I don't know though, man, because the whole decentralized thing is such a new concept. We don't know what'll happen if it's something with a community as big as Hex, like, and die hard as those Hex guys are. I don't know, man, especially being as decentralized. I'm still gonna lean towards the fact that I don't think he has bad intentions. I think he is trying to make money, but I don't think he's gonna do anything malicious. That's my final say.
Okay, yeah, I think that's enough of the that's the big thing I wanted to take you to task on. But then I also wanted to ask you what you think. Look, let's say you're looking at the crypto markets right now.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting in. I don't need any coin recommendations or anything like that. But what would you tell somebody watching these crypto guys? Because the reason you reached out is because you said this guy, Asker Follman's onto something. All these people are watching crypto and they don't know the full story. And that's what we've heard you talk about, is that, like, you were talking about these other influencers, you know, the stuff. What would you tell somebody watching crypto news, crypto YouTube, watching people put out videos like 3 coins to $3 million, stuff like that, like headlines like that? What'd you say?
I'm trying not to be cliche here, but I mean, do your own research. I would say most of the time, like I've been saying, most of the time, altcoins, cryptocurrencies do not outperform Bitcoin or Ethereum over a long-term scale. The only one that's done that lately is Ethereum. That's outperformed Bitcoin over its entire lifespan. Yeah, I would say look at their charts versus, well, I mean, it's a lot of layers here. If it's a coin that's been around a lot, look at its chart versus Bitcoin and Ethereum. Buy things that are low versus Bitcoin and Ethereum. When you buy something, this is what I tell my followers. If you buy something, be prepared to hold it for at least 2 years before it's going to be profitable, especially if you're buying something that's going up. If you buy something when it's low, you're probably going to be profitable a lot sooner. As far as YouTubers go, I'm not sure if they're saying, hey, this is sponsored. They should be, because I think that's illegal to say that it's not.
It is.
Is that illegal?
It is.
Okay, so if they're not saying, then I guess they're just lying, but because they are. So if a YouTuber talks about a particular coin that you just never heard before, he probably got paid to talk about it. Don't buy it when he first talks about it, because if you buy it when he first talks about it, be prepared to sell it real soon afterwards, or you're going to be holding the bag shortly. Wait till the hype dies down about it. If everybody's talking about a coin, don't buy it when everybody's talking about it. Buy it when everybody shuts up about it. Buy it then. It's little things like that I would that's like my daily advice I like say every day. You want to buy things when nobody cares about it. Expect that most things are going to go down. It's probably going to go down in value. So
yeah, it really does seem like by the time you've heard about it, if like everyone's rushing it, everyone's talking about it, you've already missed the boat.
Yeah,
basically. And you're just going to be one of the fools who's left with the holding the bag at the end.
Yeah.
After everyone's already gotten out, it seems like that's what it seems like to me. Good. Okay. Cool, man.
So and don't buy Hex. Don't buy Hex.
Hey, you guys heard it here first, man. And get out while you can, baby.
I mean, this is what I'm doing with Hex is I'm not buying any. I'm just selling. I stake my Hex, and then when my stake ends, I sell the interest and I restake it. That's how I'm playing Hex. I'm not buying any. I haven't bought any Hex in months. So
okay. Interesting. All right. Yeah. Thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate you coming on. It always helps to have people come on the show. I appreciate people being willing to talk, being willing to, face some hard questions. I hope you guys in the crypto community joined. I hope my lack of knowledge didn't hurt you guys too much. I'm watching you guys now. Y'all are on my radar. I didn't realize how many shady dealings were happening at crypto. Now, my eye has been turned over to it a lot closer.
It's any YouTuber, BitBoy, I don't have anything against you. I know you're probably gonna watch. I don't have anything. I mean, I don't like, like I said, I don't like the whole sponsor thing. I'm kind of sorry. I kind of called him out a little bit. He's just the first one because he's the one I had direct experience with getting wrecked. So it's like, you guys cut that shit out, man. Stop getting paid to shill these coins. Just hold the coins. You don't have to be mega rich. Guys, we're gonna be rich. We're holding crypto regardless. You don't have to wreck your followers. Make your followers rich, man, and they'll throw you a party or something in a couple of years.
Interesting. All right, thanks, man. Appreciate you coming on the show. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Sunday Special. We'll see you guys next time. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a little pissed off today because I keep getting the same comment over and over. You guys think you're so smart, telling me, "Hey, Steven, your door's backwards. It looks like you're standing outside of your office, not inside of your office." Hey, you guys haven't even seen the $10 million studio yet. I mean, you guys have to listen up. Every single episode, you can hear the faint sound. Here, I'll turn up the volume. You hear that? That's the sound of construction for the $10 million studio going on. So yeah, actually, I've been just sitting outside my office this entire time. People pass by all the time. You wonder why I have so many jump cuts. It's because people start walking by. So next time, before you guys give me lip, let me do the work. So all part of the plan. We're going to show you the $10 million studio very shortly. In fact, I'm going to give you a sneak preview at the end of this video. But before any of that happens, sorry, we got to take these off. I want to tell you guys a story about Diabetes Island. This is brought to you by our good friends at ClickBank. Let's watch.
Tell your children and husband you love them and say your goodbyes, said the doctor. You will be in a diabetic coma very soon, and I don't know what will happen next. Terrified and barely conscious, my wife looked over at our 2 kids standing outside as he showed us the test results. My normal blood sugar reading was 120. Hers was 488.
What? Watch the show. I'm not ready to comment on it yet. Hold on.
My badass wife, the boss of our family, a proud lady who would shut up anyone brave enough to give her lip. Trembling, cold, and white as a sheet. 30 short minutes. That was all he was giving my dear wife Kathy before she would fall into unconsciousness. As she lay in the cold steel hospital bed, contemplating the most depressing future she could imagine, I felt ashamed. Anger at God for inflicting this pain and misery on such a beautiful, caring, loving woman.
Hang on, don't bring God into this. Your wife's in a diabetic coma. God didn't put the ho-hos in her hand. I mean, what do you want me to tell you? So back up, sorry, he pissed me off.
You see, despite what you've been told, your uncontrolled blood sugar and increasing belly fat has nothing to do with how many sugars or carbohydrates you eat, how much exercise you do, what medications you take, or even genetics or the aging process.
This man's out here overturning everything we know about diabetes. Not due to food, not due to exercise, not even due to aging or genetics. What? What could it be?
But it is instead all down to a little known but highly dangerous toxin found on every corner of Earth.
Oh, of course, it's the little known secret. How could I have not guessed? It's never diet and exercise. That's never the answer to any health problems on ClickBank. What was I thinking? Didn't I know it was the little known secret? But what is that secret?
But there is an answer by using a simple 60-second habit twice a day, known only to the inhabitants of a small, barely populated Aegean island.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we come to Diabetes Island. Diabetes Island is a special place in the hearts of this man. But first of all, who is this man?
Hello, my name is Eric Whitfield. I'm an iron worker. My wife Kathy and I live in Owego, New York, and I'm 53 years old.
He's a salt of the earth man, a blue collar man. He's the kind of man that wouldn't lie to you.
I've been a hardworking guy all my life, scaling skyscrapers and even done some ship fitting in my day.
Ship fitting? He's a ship fitting man.
Believe it or not, I was even part of the cleanup crew sent to the ground zero after 9/11.
Oh, come on! Isn't it enough to lie to everyone? Do you have to bring 9/11 into it? I probably could have guessed that, honestly, if you'd given me some options. He's a ship-fitting man. Of course, he was on the cleanup crew of 9/11. In fact, he was also part of the SEAL Team 6 raid on Osama bin Laden. That's the kind of man this man is.
Words are just so inadequate to try and share with you what I saw and felt during those long, awful days. You really understand what it means to come under attack. And do you know something? That's happening to our bodies each and every day.
Did this man just try to compare diabetes to a terrorist attack? He's like, I know what it's like to be under attack from plane hijacking terrorists. You know what else is a plane hijacking terrorist? Your blood cells. Driving it right into the twin towers of your aorta.
Fortunately for you, a bizarre chain of events handed me the weapon I needed to defeat this invisible diabetes causing toxin for good and save my wife's life.
Dude, if this were actually a true story, which obviously I'm sure you guys know by now it's not, this would be the greatest movie ever told. They'd make a Hollywood movie every year from this and then remake that movie every single year. This would be the greatest story of all time if this were true. But you know what is true? This guy hates the belly fat that this diabetes caused. He found it disgusting. He keeps bringing it up in the story.
She piled on more and more weight. She went from the energetic motivator to sluggish and overweight. Within the space of just 4 years, Kathy's weight had ballooned from a relatively healthy 160 pounds to a massive 216.
Yeah, you can't talk about your wife that way. Don't use the word massive as an adjective. By the way, let's have a look at those little before and after, shall we?
Going from this to a slim and sexy 160 pounds.
Because all of a sudden when the magic diet is tried, we get a before and after that seem a little sus. Computer, enhance. Something about those faces seems suspicious. First of all, nothing in her face changed. Kathy has the remarkable ability to maintain the exact same face shape, even after going from a massive 216 pounds to a relatively healthy 160 pounds. So of course, you know me, I had to look into it. And what do you know? Somebody else actually did the work for me. Contra Health Scam shout out. They discovered that this lady had been photoshopped from another weight loss journey. This is the real lady. Her name is Kristen W. And she won a little prize for losing the most weight. And they took this poor lady and they photoshopped her and photoshopped a new face on her to give her the face of a 9/11 man's wife, right? But let's suspend our disbelief and continue with this journey of Eric Whitfield. He's on a quest to discover the true cause, the hidden secret they don't want you to know about.
I'd left online posts on forums and message boards.
He's all on like 4chan or 8chan asking Q what the secret to diabetes is.
I got a reply from a man we will call Kevin. Over a call, he revealed to me the 3 closely guarded and biggest lies of the diabetic industry. And this is the big diabetes lie number 1. Lowering blood sugar will reverse diabetes. Next, Kevin revealed big diabetes lie number 2. This one shocked me. Exercise helps reverse diabetes.
Like, this guy's just lying to you. I mean, I hope everyone knows that. And giving out harmful information. Exercise actually does help. Also, he can sell you a stupid product.
If medications, exercise, and carb restrictions had done nothing and would never do anything to help Kathy's diabetes, then what could help? Sadly, Kevin didn't have the answer.
And that's when he discovered Diabetes Island.
And I was close to giving up, and that's when I discovered something that chilled me to the bone.
Oh, sorry. We got to get into the super dramatic story before we get into that. Hold on one second.
I'm embarrassed to share this with you, but I feel I have to. Using Kathy's laptop, one night I stumbled onto some of her Google searches. Best way to kill yourself, said one query.
Hey! Lady, just cut back on the Twinkies a little bit. You don't have to go that way. We all eat a few too many quarter pounders from time to time. Just chill out. Eat a salad. It's not going to kill you.
I had no idea Kathy was feeling that low. I was desperate to help her, but I didn't know how. But that very night, I received a phone call that would change everything. That call came from my boss. I had gotten an offer earlier that week for a big project over in Greece. Right after my long flight, I'm introduced to the team of guys I was supervising, a group of 19 men from all over Greece. Among those was Alexander Duka and 7 other guys who came to work on the project from their home on a tiny Greek island called Halkai.
Welcome. We finally come full circle. Jeez, these things are so long.
As the weeks went on, I came to realize these 8 guys who were all in their mid-50s didn't have diabetes or even a single symptom of it. They were slim, healthy, and full of energy.
Yeah, maybe it's because they're outside working.
Back home, I didn't know of one person over 50 who didn't have diabetes, let alone 8 of them. So that night, I took Alex to one side and told him all about my wife's conditions. Alex smiled, patted me on the shoulder, and told me to wait where I was. A few minutes later, he returned with a notepad and a pencil and began to scribble down what looked like a recipe. "What's this?" I asked, looking down at the list. "The secret you've been searching for," he said with a glint in his eye.
You see, Eric, I'm a wizard.
"Our health is all down to the food we eat," he continued mysteriously.
It's not that mysterious. But a second ago, you were saying diet doesn't have anything to do with diabetes. Which is it, Eric? Come on now.
"Eat these foods and your wife will recover." With that, Alex stood up, gave me a knowing smile, and got back to work. Only then did I remember that Alex and his friends always made those homemade dressings with their lunch and dinner, sometimes even as a snack.
That's right. The secret's dressings they're going to teach you how to make for a small fee. But look, if you think that's already gone to a conspiracy level, just wait.
Now stay with me here, because this is where it gets very interesting. Particulate matter, also known as PM2.5, is a complex mixture of extremely small particles and liquid droplets. They are emitted by fuel burning and various industrial sources, but then get into the air and are inhaled. It's pretty scary, right? You see, this is the real cause of your diabetes. We know it's not because of your diet or how much exercise you do. Your health has been deteriorating because of the invisible PM2.5, which has been seeping into your bloodstream for decades.
Get your tinfoil hats on, boys, because Alice ain't seen nothing yet.
Remember this graph. We see diabetes started around the 1940s. Now look at this graph of PM2.5 levels over time. Look familiar? Notice the rapid incline at 1940 matches exactly when diabetes spiraled out of control.
Oh, come on. Eric, no, don't do that to us. Don't give us the correlation equals causation argument, please. You guys ever seen the cheese conspiracy before? Hey, check this out. Cheese consumption is apparently correlated with people who died by becoming tangled in their bed sheets. Coincidence? Is it a coincidence that when people eat more cheese, they get strangled in their bed sheets? I think not.
Yeah, it really was making sense now, and guess what? While the level of pollution in Greece was one of the highest in the world, far higher than the US, I found out that they actually had one of the lowest levels of diabetes.
Hey, boss, we found out that our hypothesis is severely undercut by the fact that Greece has way higher pollution levels than anywhere else. What should we say? Oh, it just must be the dressings that are so powerful.
It must be because of these traditional dressings and the ingredients that make them up.
But the actual crazy thing is these guys conveniently fail to mention that PM 2.5 emissions, they cut the graph off at 2006, conveniently because they've actually been falling in recent years. So their little theory doesn't line up when diabetes goes up and PM 2.5 goes down. They've literally cut off the graph right when it disproves their theory completely, because instead of actually telling the truth, they want to spin up a crazy conspiracy theory to endanger you so they can make money. Brought to you by the guy who's stealing valor from first responders at 9/11. Jeez. Anyways, I think that's a happy way to wrap it up. Needless to say, don't ever follow these idiots' advice or really anything you see on ClickBank. That's all for now. I think you guys have really earned this sneak peek that I'm about to show you of the $10 million studio. Please enjoy. Thanks for watching. And as always.
And don't forget to smash like and subscribe. Thank you.
Alex Mashinsky, creator of a multi-billion-dollar fraud known as Celsius, has been arrested. I can't express how big of a deal this is, not just for this channel, which has been covering this for over a year, but mostly for the victims. Here's what some of them said about this fraud only a few months ago.
So this was an absolute fraud from the beginning. I mean, it turns out that a lot of these businesses that they claimed to be propping up Celsius were completely fraudulent. From what I've seen from the Examiner, more and more it looks like it was just a textbook case of a Ponzi scheme.
I don't care if it was a Ponzi scheme from the very beginning or the very end. It still was a Ponzi scheme.
It doesn't matter if he meant to start a Ponzi scheme, right? But the second you got into those circumstances, it becomes fraud.
They're basically losing money from the very start of the company, and they're literally lying in front of everyone's faces saying, yeah, oh, it's totally fine. Yeah, you could totally keep our money in here. Yeah, I would totally invest more if I could. As they're currently at that same time withdrawing funds as they're literally on camera lying to everyone's faces.
He made a lot of egregious claims on his Twitter, on his website, on his podcasts he would do, claiming if Celsius ever went bankrupt, all the customers would get all of their funds back. You know, there's tweets of him saying that. And as a CEO of a company, you would take that word at face value. You would believe him when he says your coins are going to come back to you. And now that everything is coming to light and showing that essentially what he was running is a Ponzi, I do believe he should face jail time, and the people that were also involved with it that were enabling that behavior.
Well, it looks like that's exactly what's happening. Alex Mashinsky is facing serious prison time. So let's get into the meat of these allegations. Today, the DOJ, SEC, CFTC, and FTC all released indictments against Alex Mashinsky. Celsius itself was fined $4.7 billion, and 7 criminal charges were alleged against Alex Mashinsky himself, including securities fraud, wire fraud, and market manipulation. Now, in total, Mashinsky faces up to 115 years as a max sentence, but of course, the sentence will likely be much lower. Even so, though, Mashinsky is 57 years old, so there's a chance he will be in prison for the rest of his life because of Celsius. And it's not just him being charged either. Roni Cohen-Pavan, the chief revenue officer at Celsius, is also facing criminal charges. And the reasons for that aren't surprising. As we've stated over and over and over, Celsius had been secretly using customer deposits for years to buy their own stupid Cell token and make the price go up, which benefited insiders like Alex Mashinsky and Roni Cohen-Pavan, who sold their Cell tokens and became very rich. $42 million for Alex and $3.6 million for the lawyer. And most of that money was the direct result of lying to their end customer. Over and over, they lied to cover up the fact that they were the main buyers of Cell token and main sellers. They lied about their ICO, making $50 million. They lied about giving 80% of their revenues back to Celsius customers. They lied about Alex Mashinsky not selling Cell token. They lied about Celsius being profitable when they knew they were bleeding cash. And look, I could go on, but there are 71 mentions of the word false in this report, so we'd be here all day. The point is this: Alex Mashinsky and his co-conspirators lied in order to get more people to deposit money while they cashed out this Cell token. They knew they were insolvent, they knew their business wasn't working, and still they continued to pretend it was. They promoted this Ponzi scheme built on unrealistic returns, and when it all crashed, they made sure their money was out. And for those of you who've been watching this channel over the last year, this won't come as a surprise. As I said, we've been covering a lot of these allegations, but I also want to be clear that some people have been calling out Celsius even before we did. A fellow investigator, Dirty Bubble Media, has been calling out Celsius for months before anyone else knew they were insolvent. And I wanted to speak to him to ask how he knew so early and what we can learn from it and what this indictment means.
My name is James Block. I write Dirty Bubble Media, a blog focused on fraud in the cryptocurrency space. To be quite honest, I thought that Celsius was a fraud very early in my encounters with it, within a few days of actually learning about the project. And really what clued me into it was learning about its founder and CEO, Alex Mashinsky's history. He made a lot of big claims about his past successes, the companies he had founded. And what I found pretty quickly was that he had lied or at least grossly exaggerated pretty much everything that he told people about what he had done before founding Celsius. And in my experience, when someone lies that much and that often, they don't stop lying.
What does this indictment represent to you?
This indictment's a vindication for me, really. It kind of confirms what we knew for a long time. And, I expected this to happen. I don't know if it took longer than I expected, but it took a year to the day of them filing for bankruptcy for them to charge him with fraud.
Thanks for coming on. I think you helped a lot of people. I, for one, am just grateful that the victims are finally seeing some form of justice in this and that outright crimes are being treated as such. And so it's with great pleasure that I want to wrap up today's show in a bit of a unique way. Today, I'm announcing the addition of Alex Mashinsky to the Wall of Shame. As you guys know, when you appear on this show and then face charges, we will name you and we will shame you. Hopefully it encourages would-be scammers to think twice.
Banks are not your friends.
But Alex is your friend?
Yes. What Celsius does is really helps people navigate in a safe way into this environment. So when you use a Celsius wallet, okay, I'm going to earn yield and I'm going to stay safe in a safe environment because Celsius already did the homework and figured out what's safe. We have billions of dollars in liquidity. So anyone who wants to withdraw, that's a service. You can withdraw at any time.
Rarely do we witness a fall from grace so quick, so complete, that someone goes from being beloved to a con man in the eyes of the public overnight. And from the outside looking in, it's strange because every single thing that person has ever said or done is suddenly cast in a new, much more sinister light. The only comparison I can really think of is Jared Fogle from Subway. I mean, all those times he took his pants off and paraded them in front of the children. How did we not see this as a sign? It's like looking at one of those white and gold dress optical illusions. Suddenly you see it as, black and blue. And you wonder, with this sudden shift, it's so quick that you're like, how did I ever see it any differently? And that's what we're talking about today, but with a scam artist, Alex Mashinsky, because he's not in trouble for the same reasons Jared Fogle was, but he did screw over a lot of people he shouldn't. Now, you may know Alex Mashinsky because we've talked about him on this program. He's the former CEO of Celsius, and I'm not going to cover everything he did because we already have talked about it extensively. However, there's a lot of new news to cover. For one, Alex Mashinsky stepped down as the CEO. For two, we found out they owed billions of dollars more than we thought they did. 3, we know the customer funds are still frozen, but the real new evidence coming out that in my view takes Alex Mashinsky from being a slick salesman who, basically overpromised to being a full-blown criminal who should be in jail, it just recently happened. Although I need to make a disclaimer that this is, of course, my opinion that he's a criminal. He has not been formally charged, although I think a lot of you will share my view once I get through explaining this. Here's how it happened. 4 days ago, we got a report from the Financial Times, a scoop that Alex Mashinsky may have withdrawn $10 million off Celsius ahead of freezing customer accounts and ahead of the bankruptcy. This obviously would be very significant and very suspicious, but of course, I wanted to wait until this was confirmed by formal bankruptcy documents, and it was. In bankruptcy court, Celsius was required to disclose what their executives did leading up to bankruptcy. And what we found is that in the month of May, the month before they froze withdrawals and declared bankruptcy, Alex Mashinsky and other key executives in Celsius withdrew nearly $17 million from this platform. Alex himself withdrew $10 million of that. Chrissy, his wife, withdrew $2 million. Remember, she's the one who said, unbankrupt yourself and sold shirts to that effect, which is a level of irony that I simply do not have the time to unpack right now. But suffice to say, other executives also withdrew another $5 million. Now, okay, why is this criminal? Why can't they withdraw all this money from their own platform? Well, think about it. Celsius's whole problem was that it was suffering from a bank run. Too many people were withdrawing too fast, and instead of acting as the captain going down with the ship, Alex Mashinsky instead basically did the analogy equivalent of jumping in a lifeboat. But what's worse, he actually did this while deliberately lying to the people on the boat and told them that everything's fine in order to ensure his own safety and ensure that he had a lifeboat to even get on. Because, as the analogy goes, lifeboats were in short supply. They didn't have the money. But let's dig deeper than that, because if we look at the bankruptcy filings, we can get an entire history of Alex Mashinsky's transactions, which is important to prove motive. After all, if he was always withdrawing funds, it wouldn't be anything out of the ordinary. But as you can see on this fourth column, which is type, incoming or outgoing from Celsius, Mashinsky's pattern was that he only really sent money to Celsius and did keep most of his money there on platform, which is consistent through 2021 and early 2022 until March 17th, when Mashinsky starts his first outgoing withdrawals from the platform. Now, at first, it's only $100,000. However, this pattern drastically changes once again in May after the Luna crash, when the markets are in turmoil and Celsius realizes they're insolvent. Now, to understand the true scumbaggery of this whole thing, let me show you what Alex was saying publicly before I show you what he was doing privately.
And I continue to hodl. It's not like I've changed my position. I didn't sell my Bitcoin. I didn't sell my Ethereum. It's not like one of us is smarter than everybody else and they're sitting on the sidelines while the rest of us are taking a beating.
Now look, there is a lot here to unpack, from the phone number on screen 1866 HODL now, to his shirt saying that banks are not your friends, to his incredibly strong claim that he's not secretly selling. In fact, he's buying. He's bullish, right? You should be bullish too. All of this to a reasonable investor conveys the idea that we're all in this together. This is some choppy water, but we're going to get through it, right? Don't head for the life rafts. It's fine. There's no iceberg ahead. Now, with that in mind, I want you to now look at what he was doing a day after this on May 14th. He was privately withdrawing nearly all his crypto from the platform, $10 million in Bitcoin, USDC, and Ethereum. He jumped on the lifeboat and left. This honestly borderlines on the psychopathic or sociopathic. I do not know how you can sit on stage and speak to a community of your investors, of your customers, and just dead lie to them and do the opposite behind the scenes. But maybe some of you think, well, that was a day later. Maybe he changed his mind just 24 hours later. But there's actually proof that no, that's not true. He was deliberately lying, because we're going to look at what Alex said only a few days after jumping ship, right? So we're looking at before he jumped ship and after. This is from May 20th, and it is staggering.
Keep thinking that, okay, we say one thing and we do something else. We all still have most of our coins, right? We didn't sell, we didn't bail out, we didn't go and look for another job. We're in it for the long term. As Nook said, we've done several of these winters, and we're still going to be here in several years from now.
I don't know what to say. I'm blown away. Alex Mashinsky is saying in black and white that, we're not saying one thing and doing another. We're doing exactly what we want you to do. We're hodling, right? We're not bailing out, even though that's exactly what he actually did. This man is a master of lying through his teeth. And what this all shows is that there is strong evidence that Alex knew Celsius wasn't going to be around in several years, even though he said he thought it was. Because if you thought your company was going to be around in 7 years or several years, the last thing you would do is withdraw, because Celsius's entire problem, remember, is immediate liquidity. They didn't have enough money on hand. So if Alex truly thought and believed what he said he did, which is that it was going to last several years, the last thing you would do is withdraw critical funds exactly when you need them. So this fact that he was secretly withdrawing means that he knew he was lying to investors and the company was about to go under for good, and he was trying to save himself. I mean, Pretty sure he didn't even call 1866 HODL now. Okay, that's bad joke. But on a serious note, this just made me so angry that I decided I wanted to help. And I wanted to use these exact transactions and transfers in order to try to correlate them to on-chain transfers and figure out where the money went in hopes that we could maybe salvage some of it. And I'll tell you, even though I was unable to find Alex Mashinsky's specific wallets, I do have some good news, which is that I found his wife, Chrissy Mashinsky's wallets. Let me explain. I cross-referenced Chrissy Mashinsky's May 31st withdrawal of 2.4 million Celsius tokens against all of Celsius's hot wallets and found that on that day, there's only one similar transaction within 10 Celsius tokens. If you trace where this went, it goes to a wallet which already is associated with Alex Mashinsky. Mashinsky literally funded it with Ethereum initially, and this is where $2.7 million worth of Celsius tokens went. Bear in mind, it's important, this is only days before they froze withdrawals, showing that they wanted to get money off platform. And although it hasn't been sold yet, it can be sold at any time. And the reason I'm sharing this wallet publicly is I want to recommend that this is basically claimed by the bankruptcy court or seized because it's very likely that it will be sold by the Mashinskys with upcoming pressure increasing. Now, I will link this wallet in the description so it can be publicly watched and tracked by law enforcement or just anyone who's interested. I will also add the Mashinsky wallets that I've publicly labeled along with several others. I wish nothing but the best for the victims out there. If you enjoy high effort investigations like this, please understand I put a lot of my time into this, so pumping the stock is very much appreciated. If you want to catch up with the whole Celsius saga, you can do so here, but either way, thanks for watching and all the best to all of you except for Alex and Chrissy Mashinsky. How much does it cost to get an influencer to tweet about your Doge Elon stupid Ponzi coin? Today we find out. Welcome to day 4 of a Coffeezilla Christmas. I'm your host in the $10 million studio. Now guys, ever since Soulja Boy cranked that Twitter a little too hard and exposed that he had been paid $24,000 to promote cryptocurrencies, aka Safe Mars, we've known that influencers are making thousands. The same way influencers promote VPNs or G Fuel, they've now moved on to crypto. Now, I'm not going to waste time explaining the ethical and moral difference between advertising Blue Chew and Stick Dicks. Yes, there is a difference, but ultimately, like it or not, influencers aren't going to stop pitching the latest get-rich-quick schemes, and with regulation 5 to 10 years behind, you guys are at risk falling for ads disguised as influencer posts. So today I thought I would share with you guys all the secret lists I've found of crypto influencers' prices, the prices to post sponsored posts. And many of them do not disclose that they are sponsored, although some do. Now up first, we have @NFT on Instagram. Now this one is near and dear to my heart because they are apparently a Mark Cuban company and leverage company. You contact @JF for business. And yes, we will. But just looking at some of their posts, you can see what kind of stuff they do.
December 6th, I'm dropping my first NFT, Apes in Space. We're going to the moon, so don't miss it.
Here we have another shill post. And these do not say that they are ads. Okay, they do not say that. Now, of course, I was curious how much they charged. So I asked them, how much do you charge for a post? And they say, what's good? We charge $20,000 to $25,000 per post, which is part of a campaign that includes a full feature plus blah, blah, blah. The point is $20,000 to $25,000 for a undisclosed ad, which I just think is awesome coming from a Mark Cuban company. That's just, woo, that's beautiful. You know, you'd think that these are great projects that these people believe in, but actually, a bunch of it's paid. Now, next up, we have a guy you may have heard of, @BitBoy Crypto. He's the largest YouTube crypto channel, and I found this media kit thanks to Zach on Twitter, who's always digging up really interesting crypto stories. Now, here in this media kit, we can see the demographics of BitBoy's channel. We can see that it is mostly going to be a male audience, which not too surprising there. But we can also see how much it costs for, getting shouted out. Dedicated review, $35,000. Live stream, just pay $20,000. You could be in a live stream mention. YouTube interview, oh, well, that's going to cost you $40,000. Telegram AMA, oh, that's going to be $10,000. And a website article, only $2,500, guys. Just $2,500. You can be written about by BitBoy Crypto. Now, I reached out to him to confirm this is real. He did confirm this is authentic pricing. But when I asked if he ever does a sponsored post without disclosing, he said absolutely not. Ben Armstrong always discloses if it's a paid post. But now we know how much he's been paid. There it is. $40,000. You too can be interviewed by BitBoy Crypto. So I think that's super exciting, obviously. Now, up next is another find. This is from Big Steppa Marketing. I'm just going to call this list the music/rapper/has-been actor list. Now, we're going to have to break this down because this is just, it's amazing. Up top, we have the beginner tier list. This is if you're a baby project. You know, you're a starter. This is the starter cap project. Here you've got people ranging from, I don't know, $8,000 to $10,000 right here. And you have people like Kyle Massey, aka Corey in the House. You've also got legends such as Wide Neck. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you can get Wide Neck to shout out your crypto scheme. And then going down, we have the mid tier. So this is going to be $20,000 to $50,000 per post. And as you can see, this might get you a Soulja Boy, the Shiggy Show, whoever that is. That's if you're a little more serious. And then at the bottom, we've got the VIP section. This is $100,000 or more. Here we go. Little Pump starts at $100,000. You've also got DJ Khaled over here for $1 million. Okay. And you've also got Post Malone in The Weeknd coming in at the mid $100,000s. So if you ever want to buy these guys' influence, I guess that's the price. Now, bear in mind, this price list comes from the Soul Celebs project. And the reason I'm saying that is because anyone can put together just some list of a bunch of famous people with prices next to their name, right? But in this case, the same project got sponsored posts from some of these influencers. And that obviously lends credibility to this list's authenticity. Because if they're saying they can get these posts and then they got some of them, seems like maybe it's real. For example, they got Corey in the House to post about him. They also got Soulja Boy, aka Big Draco, to post about him. They also got The Shiggy Show to post about them. I think he since deleted that post. They just all archive stuff on Instagram. But I think it's important to say whether they can get, Rick Ross or Post Malone. I don't actually know, right? Sometimes these marketing teams pad out their influencer lists with really famous people to seem like more credible than they are. So just take this list for what it's worth. While it seems that definitely some of these are authenticated, some of them may not be. We don't know. I think the real takeaway here is just how cheap Soulja Boy is. Only $25,000 and you can crank that, okay? Just so you guys know, in case you're wondering how much does it cost to crank that? Hey, it's $25K. Now, last but not least, guys, we have a price list also dug up by Zach on Twitter. Go follow him, okay? You get some good stuff. This is a set of Twitter and YouTube influencer prices. Here's Twitter here from such legends as Crypto Tony, Crypto Liz, Livercoin, Girl Gone Crypto. You've also got YouTubers like Journey, Chico Crypto, BitBoy. Okay, and then you got their prices over here. Now, obviously, some of them are more expensive than others, and this tells you what your package includes. Some people give you the full dedicated review. Some people give you a sponsored segment, but either way, you're going to be signing checks, okay? And this is just a beautiful look behind the curtain of how these operations work, these educators of crypto work. Now, bear in mind, this all comes, this leak, it comes from these guys, Luna PR. They call themselves a global fintech PR agency focusing on crypto. Now, these guys actually addressed this database leak. They said in a statement, Luna PR would like to take a moment to address the situation regarding our influencer database, which has been leaked. This document has been tampered with and included false information. We have never worked with some of the influencers on this list, including Ivan on Tech. So bear in mind, they did say that. Now, we got to unpack this a little bit because it's interesting. On the one hand, they're verifying their list did get leaked. So we know at least some of that's very real. And then they say some of it got tampered with, which we can't verify. I will say it does seem like they have incentive to save face for their clients who might be embarrassed by appearing on such a list with their prices. On the other hand, I could also see Luna PR including a bunch of people they have pricing for but no connection to, or maybe they're just flat out wrong and they just made some of it up. I mean, maybe Ivan on Tech sent a few lawyers their way. We have no idea. Again, we have to go back to the conundrum that marketers often exaggerate and lie. And most of this info is coming from marketers. So that's really important context here. My point here is not even to throw any individual influencer under the bus, right? Because some of this could absolutely be wrong, but just assuming that even 50% of this is correct, because we know at least part of this list is confirmed. We just don't know how much. So even if 50% is correct, what this shows is that most of these influencers make what a lot of people make in a year. They make it in a single post about crypto. So my goal in this video, again, not to call anybody specifically out, because how bad they are really ranges, right? Some people say they're sponsored. Some people don't. Some people promote super unethical projects. Some people don't. So that's not the point. Instead, the lesson is this. We should have all been crypto influencers. Oh my gosh, we made mistakes. No, I'm not actually, I'm actually kidding. The actual lesson is this. Guys, when you see crypto advice online, when you see it coming from an influencer, maybe a rapper, this is what you might be seeing, right? There's stuff going on behind the curtains, and there's a very real possibility that it's bought and paid for. And while we could hope that these people would always do the right thing and disclose that they got paid, we know that that isn't the case always. So just be safe out there. It's really easy to be greedy with everybody talking about how they got rich from crypto. But bear in mind that a lot of the people talking about it are actually getting rich from promoting crypto, not actually investing in it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
All the promises you made, all the kids you said you'd save, but what a shame, you're a fraud. Are you the same as who you're saying? No, you're not.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's true. Jay Mazzini has been arrested. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the $10 Million Studio. I'm your host, Coffeezilla, and today, well, we have a Coffeezilla first. Listen, a lot of times we talk about fake gurus, nothing happens. In this case, he was arrested, and not for the reason you think, because it wasn't for... And in fact, I'm still asking for information. If you've been scammed in the Bitcoin scam and you are in the New York City area, DM me in the next 24 hours. And I know it looks like I haven't slept, but that's mostly the lighting. I know everyone keeps saying, like, Steven, you got to get some rest. Dude, it's the I don't know how to light myself. Oh, that's made a little better. A little better? A little better. Okay, my point is that I'm fine. Thank you for your concern, though. Thank you. But I'm totally fine. What I care about is seeing the victims get the justice they deserve and seeing this guy brought to justice as well. So all of this is good news, but let's go over what he was charged with, because you guys will find it fascinating. But again, I can't say this enough. If you're from New York, I've been posting it everywhere, the New York City area, and you were approached by Jay Mazzini for the Bitcoin scam, get in touch. Get in touch with Seafood Coffeezilla, okay? Please. Okay, so let's go over this, shall we? This just got made public. And again, I have to be really careful with what I say here, because I know a lot that's not public. I also know a lot that is public. So I'm going to be really treading lightly. But what I will tell you is that when all of this is over, I will be sharing the full information with you guys. Okay, so don't worry about it. We will be talking about the whole thing. Can't talk about it yet, but we will be sharing the entire thing. So you can see right here, there's the alias information, Jay Mazzini, Jabara J. Igbara. He's an inmate over at Fort Lee, and no bond has been posted, and I don't know if they're even allowing him bond. But let's go over the charges, shall we? Because we're going to get into all of it. I'm so excited. You guys should see into my head right now. This is a huge dub for the scammed. I'm so happy that you guys owe yourselves a round of applause. Listen, people have been taking your money for so long, and finally these guys are they're getting brought to justice. And I for one, couldn't be happier about it. But wow, this is quite intense. Again, if you're from the New York area and you have information about the Bitcoin scam, you were scammed by Bitcoin, you know someone who was, please get in touch with me. But yeah, that's basically it. That's all I can share right now. The story is epic. I almost want to make it into a Netflix doc. I mean, it is so insane. The details of this are so unbelievable that yesterday I was just like pacing my house. I was like, oh my gosh, this is Netflix. This is like, anyway, I don't want to, it's too much. It's too much, dude. I know I'm just debating you guys, but Again, kidnapping, possession of weapon for unlawful purpose, aggravated assault. I mean, these are big charges, ladies and gentlemen. And it's unbelievable, okay? So I don't have too much more I can share with you right now. Just know the Jay Mazzini story is not over. And if you have information, happy to take Twitter, Instagram, Gmail. Otherwise, if you're not from New York City and you're not involved in the Bitcoin scam, don't forget, pump the stock, ladies and gentlemen. Pump it up. Zilla, okay? People were telling me yesterday there's actually a penny stock called Zilla. Clearly, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the YouTuber stock, Zilla, Coffeezilla. Be sure to pump the ticker. And thanks for watching. Keep an eye out. See you in the next one.
I know what you mean. This ain't what it seemed. Nothing but a trick trying to sell me on a dream, but that was where you lost me. Wake up and smell the coffee.
Alright, so this is against all legal advice. Before I start, I want to say that I would never in a million years on purposely, intentionally try to harm, take advantage, or scam.
I've been investing in a lot of cryptocurrency lately, and MILF, it's insane, guys. I 25x'd my investment.
To think I would participate in a rug pull that has my face on it is kind of like saying, you know, hey, I'm going to go and rob a bank without wearing a mask. And
So Moon Portal is out right now, guys. You can swipe up and check it out.
It just doesn't make any sense. He just can't stop contradicting himself, as you'll see in the next clip too. I am no crypto mastermind. So let's start here with all of my wallets and transactions on Save the Kids. And there's a wallet that I have that nobody knows about. But I also want to say that I am genuinely so sorry that any of this ever happened. And I feel terrible that anybody was affected. Even though I was tricked by somebody that took advantage of me, I take full responsibility for that. And I really want to apologize about being led by somebody that I should not have trusted so much. And for this, I hold my hands up. Don't get me wrong, I'm not looking for any sympathy. My life is falling apart. I've been kicked from FaZe and he just refused to take any accountability for any of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the only YouTuber you can trust because I have a Lambo in the background.
Knowledge.
Come on, guys, it's basic math. You can trust me because I have a Lambo. And I'm crypto mining in the background. That's how you know I'm trustworthy. Today I want to talk about Linus Tech Tips, guys. He recently made a video on crypto mining, which I thought I should address because there's kind of two layers to this. I don't know if you call it like a YouTuber controversy, but only one layer has actually been addressed. And there's a way more important piece, which is being swept under the rug right now. It's the part that Linus Tech Tips didn't tell you about in an 8-minute sponsor video or in the statement that he released since then. But before I get into this video, look, I just want to say in advance, super important caveat. I'm quite familiar with Linus Tech Tips' work. I'm a fan, like not a computer fan, a real fan. And as such, I'd be remiss if I didn't contextualize this video with the fact that I think you can still trust Linus Tech Tips. I think for the most part, they do really good, deep work, especially for a channel who manages to also be so prolific. So I'm saying this because I think that even the best YouTube channels can make mistakes. And I think it's important to distinguish between good actors who make mistakes and bad actors who are intentionally misleading you for profit. I don't think that's the case here. So I want to be clear that they're the former, not the latter. Okay, with that said, we got to go from the beginning, okay? Recently, Linus Tech Tips, again, caught you up, popular tech YouTube channel, released a video called Mine Crypto Before It's Too Late.
Do you like money? Better yet, do you like free money? Even if you're running an older PC, it could be worthwhile for you to start mining while your system is idle.
Now, this video received immediate backlash, and that's because this video was sponsored and entirely about NiceHash, a service that can help you mine crypto with that fancy new gamer graphics card of yours, okay? But the first layer of this fail is that Linus Tech Tips is actually notoriously against large-scale crypto mining, even putting out a heavily critical video called NVIDIA Doesn't Care About Gamers because of their decision with the crypto mining cards. So this led many people in his comment section to see this new video, as hypocritical, which is like encouraging crypto mining, and everyone's saying, oh, you've become the very thing you swore to destroy. And this is the part of it which he has addressed. He says in a statement, read today's video. Thank you for your comments. There's no denying the environmental impact of mining and the product shortages it contributes to. But this video does not advocate for that kind of large-scale commercial mining that does the majority of the harm. This video is already out there. We aren't going to paper over it, but with that in mind, I read you loud and clear, and we will think carefully about partnerships in the mining space moving forward. Linus, okay? Now, to many people, like, the story ends here, but It doesn't. It gets much deeper. And ironically, the statement is actually papering over the more concerning and serious issue here, which is that in an 8-minute commercial for NiceHash, Linus never mentions the most important piece of information for anyone thinking of associating themselves with NiceHash, which is that their founder is a convicted cyber criminal who has served 4 years and 10 months for cyber crimes and in 2019 became wanted in the United States. Let me let that settle in. That was never mentioned in a sponsored video for NiceHash, that's their founder. See, NiceHash's founder created a malicious malware called the Butterfly Botnet, which was designed to steal data, online banking passwords, and other sensitive information. And it also became like one of the largest botnets in history. Yes, that's the founder of NiceHash. That's who we're talking about here. We're going to refer to him as MS. I'll put his name on screen. I'm just going to butcher it if I try to pronounce it. But to be clear, like, this is not a small omission. Like, oops, I forgot to mention that they got a speeding ticket back in the day. No. It's massive. And it rubs me in the wrong way because in the video, Linus Tech Tips mentions full disclosure and mentions a hacking scandal NiceHash has had in the past while failing to disclose the founder's full history.
Now, in the interest of full disclosure, NiceHash was actually hacked a couple of years ago. However, unlike most other services and exchanges, they actually used their own money to eventually pay back everyone who had any crypto go missing in full during the attack, which is actually the only reason that we were comfortable working with them on this project. Because remember, guys, it's not your mistakes that define you, it's how you handle the fallout after.
It's like saying full disclosure, hey, Jeffrey Epstein, he's been known to get a little flirty. But you never mentioned the actual full history. And you know, past criminality doesn't mean someone is a criminal today. The sketchy history with MS is from the late 2000s, but it is absolutely relevant to know if you're going to put money and install software from a dude who has gone to jail for creating software that helps people steal money, right? Like, if you're interviewing the future head of security for like a bank and they don't tell you that they have a rap sheet for robbery, that's ridiculous. That's absurd. Again, doesn't mean you can't hire the person, but you, the viewer or the hirer, deserve to know that, right? You deserve to know that piece of information. And Linus Tech Tips did a sponsored piece and never gave that out. And the statement doesn't even mention it. Instead, it's been turned into, oh, I hear you about this environmental issue, which is important but misses the bigger point. And look, I get it. This video might be shared around the NiceHash community, so let me quickly familiarize you with some of their talking points about the founder, because this is not the first time this has come up. He's addressed it, and they have their ways of kind of talking their way around this. And I want to address them just so you're fully informed. According to one of his interviews, MS basically says he's an innocent guy caught up with some trouble. He says, I've never been a hacker. It's just a big misunderstanding. I'm just a programmer. I've never busted in anywhere or stole anything at all. I was told that I wrote a software that was used by others for evil purposes. What a sweetheart. This is a massive dodge, though. The truth is that MS was the founder and administrator of Darkode, which is described as, quote, the most prolific English-speaking cyber criminal forum to date. And on that forum, which he created, he also created the Butterfly Bot, which he advertised on that forum, according to the US indictment, as being undetectable by many antivirus packages. He also advertised that the software had the capability to steal sensitive information, including usernames and passwords for banks and other financial institutions from users of Firefox, Internet Explorer web browsers, and included DDoS features. So let's be clear. MS is claiming he innocently created a program that was repurposed for bad thing, like he was just a good guy, when in actuality, he ran a cyber criminal forum and sold the bot on that forum, which was designed to be used for evil purposes and was advertised as such. So this dodge is nothing but clever PR. And this strategy, by the way, of plausible deniability is also nothing new for MS. A screenshot from the now defunct website shows you even back then how he described his cyber criminal forum. Let's bring it up. Check this out. You guys are gonna love this, dude. Look at this. So it goes, welcome to Darkode, international marketplace for sewing machines and other legal stuff. This is how they describe what Europol described as like the most prolific cyber criminal forum. An international marketplace for sewing machines and other legal stuff. So you should know that context when now his new tagline is, I was never a hacker. I was a programmer, right? I didn't do anything. It was other people. Yeah, right. And Pablo Escobar sells phones now, right? In conclusion, Is NiceHash a trustworthy website? Has MS reformed his ways, cleaned up his act in the last few years? Has he learned his lesson in jail? And do the past actions of a founder dictate like the goals, and do they taint the future projects they have? I have no idea. Look, I'm not saying you should distrust NiceHash. Whether you do or not is a personal decision. What I am sure of, though, is that you deserve to know the history of the company's founder before putting your computer in the hands of a guy who bragged that his malware could evade detection from antiviruses, right? And to Linus Tech Tips specifically, I'm pretty sure that things just slipped through the cracks here and due diligence was just missed on this one. I mean, I think that's the only way that can explain the lack of disclosure here, is that Linus simply wasn't aware. But what I can't get away from is that this is a huge miss, and that even though I'm sure like they're putting up infrastructure to make sure a massive disaster never happens like this again, I do think it's worth saying that like his statement is definitely missing the point on this. If Linus wasn't aware of NiceHash's history before, he definitely is now. And the fact that he didn't make that part of his statement makes it seem like he was doing the opposite of what he claims to be doing in his statement, which is papering over a mistake, right? Instead, he's saying like, I'm not doing that. I'm like, we'll just learn from it in the future. But it seems like you're papering over a bigger mistake by admitting to a smaller one. That being said, I still like his tech videos. I'll continue to watch them, and I'll continue to take him as an authoritative source on non-sponsored videos. In the end, for you, the viewer, it's a great lesson that no one's infallible. Not me, not Linus Tech Tips, no one. And that you should do your own research. I hope this has helped explain the whole situation with NiceHash. And whatever you guys decide to do, mine crypto or not, you have all the facts. I wish you the best. And yeah, that's basically it. See you in the next one.
I know what you mean. This ain't what it seemed. Nothing but a trick, trying to sell me on a dream, but that was where you lost me. Wake up and smell the coffee.